Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet, the final messenger. How is everybody doing? Welcome to the most watched show on the planet. I have with me here my guest, as usual, whose name is apparently Allah is a Zionist. What is the meaning behind this name?
Oh, it was just a tweet I just sent. So Surah 5, verse 32 of the Quran, possibly the most misused verse in English. That's the one that they always say, according to Surah. Well, they almost never give the reference because they don't want people to look it up and see what it actually says. But they'll say, oh, you see that ISIS guy killing that other guy? He's not a real Muslim because he's killing people. And the Quran says, if anyone kills a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind. So you see, Islam condemns killing, and these guys can't be Muslims at all. If you read it, the part we normally point out, there are two things we normally instantly put out. One, quit chopping off the beginning of the verse. It says it was revealed to the children of Israel. And this is actually a quotation from the Talmud, Mishnah Sanhedrin. So we point that out normally. And we point out that, hey, why don't you read the next verse, which is for Muslims, and it describes all sorts of punishments, execution, crucifixion, dismemberment, or exile for the vague crime of making mischief in the land. And that's a justification for almost everything that terrorists do, right? If they're launching terrorist attacks against a group in their own country, they say, hey, they're making mischief in the land, that's why we have to kill them. Or if they're making if they're launching terrorist attacks against like the United States or something, they'll say, hey, the United States made mischief in a Muslim land. So there's a verse which justifies all kinds of killing for all kinds of reasons. Instead of going to that verse, they go to the verse before it, which is actually, it specifically says was for the children of Israel. So we spent decades explaining to people that, hey, when you hear these guys say, oh, if anyone kills a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind, why don't you actually read the verse and then read the verse that follows it and then make an informed decision. But a lesser known detail of that verse is that verse says that Allah gave authority to the children of Israel to kill people who make mischief in the land. Now notice, this is divine authority in the land. What land? Is it A, China, B, Australia, C, Canada, or D, Israel?
China.
Right. So according to that verse, Jews have divine authority to punish anyone who makes mischief in the land. Can you think of anyone who, from a Jewish perspective, has been making mischief in the land of Israel within the past day or so? I can. So anyway, I just pointed out, wait a minute, like this is Allah saying that he gave Jews authority to punish anyone who makes mischief in this land. So they have the authority over the land. What is that? It sounds like Zionism to me.
Yeah. So what is currently going on is it has been going on all day.
Right. I'm turning this down.
We are what's going on? Okay, yeah, whatever. So what happened is the whole day now, Israel has been at a very serious conflict with Hamas, with the terrorist organization Hamas, which is only one part of the Palestinian governance, if you can even call it that. And it started immediately in the morning hours, in the early morning hours in Israel, where a very big attack began that is unprecedented. I think if you look at the Israeli voices, at the Israeli politicians, the Israeli government, the Israeli media, you will see that they will say that this is an attack like no other before. Plus, Israel was caught by surprise. Apparently, there is a lot of discussion, a lot of blaming Israel in this as well. The population is blaming Israel as well, because apparently there was a huge gap in information, in intelligence, and somehow Hamas, which was planning this attack in advance, quite a few days in advance, with probably in collaboration with Iran and other governments, found a loophole and sent its people, its terrorists, directly into Israel, on Israeli soil, and started attacking. And we got images of Hamas actually walking down the streets of Israel and shooting people randomly, dragging people out of their homes, stopping cars, murdering people, dragging them out, stripping them naked, spitting on them, humiliating them. We have some extremely disturbing images I want to point out here. We might I don't want to focus on that, but we might show some footages that are very, very disturbing. So I guess the age restriction will be put on here afterwards. But we had images of, especially one prominent image we have of a woman who was apparently a German citizen who was there as a visitor, and she was paraded on the back of a truck through the streets by Hamas as she was naked, and people were celebrating this. People were celebrating this. This is one of the shocking images that emerged. I'm not going to show the video at the moment, but here it is. She is identified as Shani Luke, who is of German citizenship. She was there as a guest, as a visitor in Israel for a concert, for a music festival, and she got caught in the middle of the terrorist attack, of the invasion. Has nothing to do at all with any of this. It's just somebody living their life, and she is one of the hers is one of the main instances right now that are known everywhere, who was dragged through the streets naked among cheering Palestinians, and people are still celebrating this kind of stuff. This is only one of those images. There is so much out there of them committing atrocities in the streets, shooting people down, innocent lives for no reason at all. And people call this resistance, and people make excuses for this. It is horrible.
So is this are these videos like confirmed? Because I never trust the videos, because
Yeah,
it's happened over and over again. Someone will share a video and everyone will go, "Oh, look at this," and then like someone will post later, "That's a video from 3 years ago." They just reposted it. It's from
no,
a
I made sure to check.
from a completely different country and so on.
I made sure to check. I'm not sure about this one right now, but I'm pretty sure this is
And
authentic.
that's what I mean. It would make perfect sense for this to be happening, but there's been like 80 other things that would make perfect sense for that to be happening, and so some people just take the same video from like 10 years ago and then repost it and stuff. So
Celebrating, and this is just only one of the images you can see all over the world. I just checked Turkish social media and Turkish news. You see lots of Muslim people celebrating and saying, "God bless, Allah bless our Palestinian brothers, and may they have victory." This is from a footage of a girl being transferred by force and being put into a car. They kill some and leave others alive like this and drag her into the car. She has blood all over. She has blood on her back. You wonder why in the
Sam
world.
Harris trending?
I don't know. You wonder why in the world this would.
I wonder why in the
this would
world
be
Sam
here.
Harris is trending. But yeah, that
I have no
distracted me
idea.
for a second.
I have no idea. I have no idea. But yeah, this is so. This is what's going on. Here's an image, a footage of. This is directly shared by the IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, of these terrorists driving through Israel, and
by the way, this is crazy, because I've been there and we got a tour of like the defenses. It's some pretty extreme defenses.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they got through it, that's pretty amazing.
And it just happened suddenly, right? I mean, I remember what was that? It was late at night for me.
Yeah,
I was going to sleep.
You messaged me and you're like, right after I saw it, then you're like, "Hey, you see what's going on?" I'm like,
Yeah, I was just falling asleep, and then I finally wanted to check Twitter one last time, and then I see what just started happening. It's there in the very early hours this happened, and there is a lot of talk going on about how exactly this happened, because as you said, Israel is known by now for having set up an extremely safe, security system all around Israel. They're supposedly, preventing all kinds of things from getting through, intercepting rockets, checking all the borders so firmly, and then here suddenly on this day, you have a bunch of people from Hamas with their weapons and their trucks pouring into Israel and beginning to shoot and beginning to drag citizens out and drag them to Gaza.
No, it's really, really crazy because I mean the security systems there, mind blowing. They don't just have one barrier; they have multiple. So that if you were to manage to get to one, you'd still have that they would be notified instantly, and they would swarm you with an army before you got to the second one, unless you were just moving really quickly. But then all sorts of other things, like there are people who have to go back and forth, and who are allowed to go back and forth, but they still have to check them for bombs and so on. So how do you check people for bombs? And the defense forces there, they explained that a trained dog is better than any sort of equipment you can use. A dog is better at sniffing out a bomb than any sort of equipment you want. But Muslims lots of times don't like dogs, and so they don't want dogs sniffing on them. And so what happens is, as they're walking through a security checkpoint, there is this vacuum system that's sucking the air from around people and stuff. It takes it into a room where a dog will notify people, hey, I smell a bomb. And then they will go over and pull the person to the side and so on. So you have stuff like that. But then they had issues like they were becoming concerned about drones, and like people in Gaza putting an explosive on a drone and then sending the drone up into the air and going over the defenses. So then they set up a system to where, I mean, it's crazy. Like the people are actually thinking of this, but they came up with a system that if a drone flies over, once it crosses over the fence, it reprograms the drone to go back to wherever whoever sent it. So you send a bomb up, you send a bomb, I'm going to send a bomb across this fence and so on. All of a sudden that bomb flies right back at you. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the point is really, really sophisticated defense forces. So just never expected to be sitting there one
That's
day.
the thing.
All of a sudden Hamas is running through the streets there.
That's why people are wondering what exactly is happening here. It doesn't make sense with all the defense that we have, that Israel is even accused of for being like doing overkill and all of that. How could this possibly happen? And I don't know. I saw lots of media outlets and lots of commentators say that once this is over, there will be a lot of finger pointing and a lot of soul searching and a lot of trying to find the root cause of this. But one thing is sure, after the footages that we have seen today, lots of people who still believed in a more liberal, a more peaceful approach to the whole issue have changed their minds. So many people have denounced this. We have just incoming news from Netanyahu, apparently, who said, so Netanyahu declared in the morning that this is a war. They usually don't call it a war. They call it, operations and conflicts. But this morning, after Hamas actually entered Israeli soil and started shooting at people, Netanyahu said that we have declared war. We are at war and we will go to the end. He now says that they have mostly destroyed the enemy forces, by which he means the militants. 200, 300 militants that entered Israeli territory have been eliminated. And
gosh, that's a lot, though. Like you knew they were going to lose, but the fact that they got in there with 200 to 300,
the enemy forces that have penetrated our territory were destroyed. This is the first phase. At the same time, we started the offensive formation, and it will continue without reservation and without respite until the goals are achieved. We will restore security to the citizens of Israel, and we will win. The thing is, Hamas, when they started this attack, they declared, they made this ludicrous, idiotic announcement once again and said, this is the final attack. This is the attack that will end the oppression by Israel,
Are they stupid?
by the Zionists. We will get rid of them. Stand up now. We will fight.
No, they're going to crush you.
Everybody who knows and who is aware of the pathetic strength of Hamas and the strength of Israel knows that Hamas has zero chance here of actually achieving anything. And as a result of this, Israel will counterattack, Hamas will be crushed, and Hamas will use its population as human shield, and they will also die. So what exactly is the point here? It is a suicide mission on Hamas's part. So it makes you wonder, what exactly do these guys want? Do they actually do they just want to cause chaos?
That's what I was thinking when you said what they want.
It's like,
it's like that's the only thing that makes sense. But that's, we're assuming they're thinking rationally, and that chaos is the only thing that makes sense. Because, I mean, keep in mind, so you got, let's say 200 jihadis, and they go storm in there, and those guys get killed or captured, and maybe a couple of them get away and so on. But then it's the other people in Gaza who are going to be on the receiving end of the retaliation. And it's like what? It reminds me of how like the Dawa guys are with critics or something, in the sense that if they insult you, they don't seem to care about what's going to come back at them, right? Like over and over again. Like a simple example, they'll call you apis, knowing that you're going to make fun of Muhammad in return, and they're not supposed to do that. That's a bad idea. They're in theory, they're supposed to be more concerned with you not making fun of Muhammad than with getting to call you a name or something like that. But for some reason, their hatred for you outweighs any sort of rational thinking. As long as, hey, we called him a name. Okay. He called our prophet names and made fun of our book in response, but hey, we called him a name, didn't do anything to him, but and so it's like their hatred for other people, it's like it overwhelms any sort of rational thinking here. Because, I mean, notice, it's okay. Whatever you do, whatever you accomplish against Israel, you're going to get it worse. You're going to get it worse here, and you're not going to win. And it's just amazing that people will celebrate. Yay, we killed that lady, or we killed that person. Victory! And it's like, are you serious? They're going to crush you, and you're going to solidify people's resolve. And I mean, just think. They've been offered a two-state solution over and over and over again. They always reject it. We reject it until we completely crush Israel and wipe them off the map. And then you've got the rest of the world all saying, hey, give them a state, give them their own state, step out of there. And then this happens, right? This happens. And this allows Israel to explain in the future, this is why we cannot grant these people what they want, or even give them a solid base where they can launch operations from. And so this is a disaster in every sense for Muslims, and yet they'll cheer for it. Ha ha ha! We got into Israel for a few hours.
There is a thing that that a lot of people aren't aware. A lot of people who are not aware with, who are not very knowledgeable on the intricacies, on the details of this conflict, don't really understand what the Palestinians are and who we are talking about when we say the Palestinians or the Palestinian Authority. There are two regions of the Palestinians under Israel right now. One of them is the West Bank. The other is the Gaza Strip. The West Bank is ruled by Fatah and the Palestinian Authority, whereas the Gaza Strip is ruled by Hamas, which is an extremely Islamist terrorist organization. Whereas the West Bank, the Palestinian Authority, flirts with the idea of possibly finding some peace and establishing an actual state and building relations, which they are not really working toward. Hamas doesn't have such a goal at all, and right now the conflict here is because of Hamas. Hamas started the attacks in the morning. Hamas invaded Israeli soil, and it is clearly stated in the charter of Hamas that their goal is to free Palestine altogether. In fact, in their original charter, their goal was to destroy the Zionists and remove all the Jews from the Palestinian land. They have now updated their charter over time. The last one was published in 2017, and according to that one, the first goal is to reach the previous borders from pre-1967, and then finally to free all of Palestine. So they refuse any kind of Israeli presence. They want to get rid of Israel altogether. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why some people are saying that there's a lag here.
I don't see
I'm
one.
I'm not exactly sure. My connection here seems stable. It might be a YouTube issue, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, you look fine to me, so that might
In
be a
fact,
YouTube thing.
YouTube tells me the stream is healthy. Stream health is excellent.
Okay, so maybe it's you all.
Yeah, maybe you're all delusional.
Maybe it's you all and your dumb computers.
So, David, here's the thing. You just asked about Sam Harris. No, Sarah Rainey in the chat sent me a link and said this is why Sam Harris is trending. So you're lucky. I think Sam Harris is trending and it's relevant to the actual topic here.
Well, it's just interesting because I just made a video completely destroying him. I haven't released it yet.
Yeah. He apparently commented on Israel and morality and stuff like that. And maybe we should have a look at it. I think it's worth watching. Let's see. Do you want this? Do you want this?
Well,
do
I? Can't get enough of Sam Harris.
Yeah.
Or any of the new atheists.
Inshallah. Let's see.
There's an obvious, undeniable, and hugely consequential moral difference between Israel and her enemies. The Israelis are surrounded by people who have explicitly genocidal intentions towards them. The charter of Hamas is explicitly genocidal. It looks forward to a time based on Quranic prophecy when the earth itself will cry out for Jewish blood, where the trees and the stones will say, "Oh, Muslim, there's a Jew behind me. Come and kill him." This is a political document. We are talking about a government that was voted into power by a majority of Palestinians. The discourse in the Muslim world about Jews is utterly shocking. Not only is there widespread Holocaust denial, there's Holocaust denial that then asserts we will do it for real if given the chance. The only thing more obnoxious than denying the Holocaust is to say that it should have happened. It didn't happen, but if we get the chance, we will accomplish it. There are children's shows in the Palestinian territories and elsewhere that teach 5-year-olds about the glories of martyrdom and about the necessity of killing Jews. And this gets to the heart of the moral difference between Israel and her enemies. And this is something I discussed in The End of Faith. To see this moral difference, you have to ask what each side would do if they had the power to do it.
I know that Sam Harris has never been shy to to say some of these very harsh truths when it comes to these conflicts. This is why he's also not very popular among the progressive liberal left crowd by now. There is one thing that I would like to correct him on. It kind of sounds like he was saying that that the prophecy about the Jews is from the Quran. It is actually from Muhammad. So Muhammad himself prophesied.
Wait, who said that?
I think he said that this is a Quran.
Did he say
prophecy.
that?
I think he's just said
that's part of my video. Part of my video, I'm saying that every time this guy talks about Christianity or Islam, he gets something wrong. I've only seen a couple of clips from him, but I mentioned the first clip I ever saw of Sam Harris he was on the Colbert Report, and he was saying that Stephen Colbert said something about the virgin birth, and Sam Harris replied, "Yeah, but according to the Quran, you'll spend eternity in hell for believing in the virgin birth." And it's like, wait, what? You don't know that? Like, that's kind of like 101, like day one of 101.
I think he corrected that later on and said, "I misspoke."
He did. He did because I pointed out and he misspoke, and that's fine with me, right? Like you're on camera and stuff like this, and you're firing back and forth and stuff. But then he was at Idea City. The next thing I saw was he was at Idea City, and he's talking about Jesus, and he said, "Yeah, you catch Jesus in some of his better moments, and you get like the golden rule, but at other times he says things like, 'As for my enemies who didn't want me to reign over them, bring them here and slaughter them before me.'" It's like, wait, dude, have you ever read that chapter? Have you actually read that? So anyway, I've always, ever since then, I've thought of him as a guy who like talks. He learned some. He's obviously extremely, extremely smart and a good speaker and so on, but pretty sloppy in his knowledge. So if you're saying he just said it's in the Quran, that's interesting. By the way, do you remember? Do you remember like maybe 7 or 8 years ago when all the Hollywood celebrities signed that document against the Hamas charter? It was tons of people. It's like all these. I mean, like a bunch of like TV stars and movie stars.
Oh,
all
I
signed
remember.
this
I
document.
remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it said, "We condemn the Hamas charter for saying that the end will not come until Muslims fight the Jews, and Jews are hiding behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees are saying, here, come and kill me. We condemn Hamas for saying this, and they need to remove this from their charter," and so on. And everyone signs this until people like me point out that that's not them making this up. There's a quote from Muhammad, and then no one condemns it. And it's like, so it was impressive. It's like, wait, Hollywood, these are like the most pro-Islam guys on the planet, and all of a sudden they were condemning a quotation from Muhammad, but only when they didn't know it was from Muhammad. As soon as they found out it was from, as soon as people find out it's from Muhammad, they don't condemn it anymore.
Oh, sorry guys, we didn't know it was from Muhammad. Sorry for condemning it.
We thought it was just from Hamas, but if
Yeah.
it's from Muhammad calling for
this
mass
hadith
murder
here was actually in the original Hamas charter, which they only removed because they realized over time that they are not making themselves very popular and not getting much support for having this in here. But lots of people will be aware of this hadith, which says, Abu Hurairah said, "The messenger of Allah said, the last hour will not come until the Muslims fight against the Jews, until a Jew will hide himself behind a stone or a tree, and the stone or the tree will say, 'Oh Muslim, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him.' But Al-Gargad tree will not say so, for it is the tree of the Jews." I remember learning this as a child, and it is incredibly, I don't know how to put it, but it's incredibly messed up that that you grow up basically as a Muslim learning that the Jews are such bad guys that you will in the future be in such a fight with them that you will be eradicating them, and they will be hiding behind rocks and trees, and that there is even a tree that is on their side which protects them. Like this is directly out of some really idiotic cartoons. But it's not. It's out of Muhammad's mouth, apparently. So this is what Muhammad said according to the hadiths, and this was included in the original charter of Hamas. So that is the Hamas existed from the beginning until now to get rid of Israel and to remove the Jews in one way or another. And people really think that there is some way to to come together and make peace with those guys and to find some common ground and to establish a two-state solution with them.
It's the same thing over and over again. Like it's a parallel. It's a much bigger, much bloodier, much worse parallel with what we just saw on the PBD podcast. It's like everyone, hey, let's build bridges. Like, it doesn't work when one side wants to annihilate the other. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. You need to focus on other things. But hey, building bridges between all these guys, and one side wants to kill the other, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Here is the original text of the Hamas charter. It's mentioned in Article 7. This is from the original charter from 1988, I believe. And here it is, Article 7 in the charter. It is titled "The Universality of the Islamic Resistance Movement," and it basically summarizes that Muslims all around the world are supposed to fight for Islam against oppression, and the Islamic resistance movement is one of the links in the chain of the struggle against the Zionist invaders. It mentions the Muslim Brotherhood, jihad all over, and finally it says here, the Prophet may Allah bless him and grant him salvation, has said, "The day of judgment will not come about until Muslims fight the Jews, when the Jews will hide behind stones and trees. The stones and trees will say, 'O Muslim, servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him.' Only the Gargat tree would not do that because it is the tree of the Jews." Imagine, this was in the charter of this this political group that assumes the role of a government. And right now, it is no longer in their charter, but their charter still includes that they are meant to eventually confront the Zionists and free Palestine altogether. They never even recognize Israel. They just refer to them as Zionist invaders.
And you have to wonder, I mean, is that, like, notice this is going to be miraculous, right? Like Allah is going to aid them if like trees and stones are crying out, hey, there's a Jew hiding behind me, come get him. If that sort of thing's going on, then it's like a miraculous destruction. So that's also something that could be part of their thinking. You know what I mean? Like if they're, we've got 200 guys, we're going to invade Israel. Like I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know if the goal is just chaos, or if they do just view themselves as martyrs to set off something larger for later or something like that. Or they could be, we're going to go there and Allah's just going to help us actually conquer everyone, and they're all going to run and hide behind rocks and trees, and we're going to get our virgins.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, let's listen a little bit more to Prophet Sam Harris. Let's see.
What would the Jews do to the Palestinians if they could do anything they wanted? Well, we know the answer to that question, because they can do more or less anything they want. The Israeli army could kill everyone in Gaza tomorrow. So what does that mean? Well, it means that when they drop a bomb on a beach and kill 4 Palestinian children, as happened last week, this is almost certainly an accident. They're not targeting children. They could target as many children as they want. Every time a Palestinian child dies, Israel edges ever closer to becoming an international pariah. So the Israelis take great pains not to kill children and other non-combatants. Now, what do we know of the Palestinians? What would the Palestinians do to the Jews in Israel if the power imbalance were reversed? Well, they have told us what they would do. For some reason, Israel's critics just don't want to believe the worst about a group like Hamas, even when it declares the worst of itself. We've already had a Holocaust and several other genocides in the 20th century. People are capable of committing genocide. When they tell us they intend to commit genocide, we should listen.
Okay, yeah, so the general takeaway here is pretty much, if the power was all in Israel's hands, there wouldn't be genocide. If the power was all in the hands of the Palestinians, there would be some really messed up stuff would go on, and I think we have seen a hint of that today already in the video footage and the pictures that have spread across the world, which have made Hamas really, really unpopular among those who were on the fence, and still popular among the insane people who think that this is somehow a struggle for the truth and for Allah.
You've got some bona fide morons over here in the chat. Look at this. Rish G says, hilarious that D Wood is just taking Sam Harris's word on this for the first time, and is like, what are you talking about? We're taking his word for what? What are you taking his word for what?
We're taking his commentary into
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Sam. I never thought of, one side wants to destroy the other side, but the other side doesn't want to destroy. I've never thought of that. Well, I just took Sam Harris's word for it. My goodness, dude. Go back to kindergarten, start over, because the education system has clearly failed you, sport.
Definitely. So, according to The Guardian, to summarize, they say what we know so far is the Israeli military response to attacks by Hamas enters day 2. At least 250 Israelis have died in Hamas. Really? In Hamas attacks?
Wait, wow. What? 250?
250 Israelis have died. And is this real?
Wait, when? Just in the last 2 days?
Wait. What? I don't get it.
Click on the link.
Netanyahu declares war as at least 250 Israelis are killed. More than 230 Palestinians die in airstrikes launched in response. Wow, shoot. I didn't follow the details on the death toll closely, but wow.
That's a lot. That's why they're cheering. People in the chat saying over 300 confirmed.
Yeah, I think they're adjusting the numbers as we speak. I saw earlier the number is 300, but I wasn't aware. That
I remember when it was. I remember when it was one, like early this morning. I remember when it was one person confirmed dead, and they're saying 300 now. That's that is massively successful by their standards.
And I know lots of people who upon reading this, they will just feel happy and they will celebrate. In fact, you can see them all over the internet when you look through Muslim social media right now, which is really, really messed up. Israeli officials have said more than 1,590 Israelis have been wounded, Israel's health ministry said. At least 230 Palestinians have been killed and 1,610 wounded in Gaza by Israeli retaliation after the Hamas attack. This is the first time that I see the death toll and the wounded numbers so close to each other. Normally, Hamas attacks and manages to kill a few, and Israel then responds and, kills a lot of people. This is the first time that I see so many Israelis dead in an attack. I don't know.
Javier Alonso said, if they are finished with Israel, where do you think they will go for next? Spain. That is the correct answer. I mean, apart from just despising Jews, part of the reasoning is that they believe that any land that was once held by Muslims is eternally supposed to be controlled by Muslims. And so Israel was once controlled by Muslims, and therefore they have to fight and get it back. But guess what? So was Spain. Spain was also under Muslim control. And so that's also a target. It's just that it's all the attention is on the area that's closest to home. If that change, yes, there are other areas that are going to become the main target.
To be honest, I think Spain is more like a distant fantasy, a distant memory.
I think Israel's a total fantasy. You're not getting any of this.
Yeah, a story that they tell each other, like, oh, in the past, a long time ago, once upon a time, there was a land that was very, very beautiful, and that was Spain under Muslim rule.
It's further away, but it's also further away, like in their minds, because Israel, I mean, they had control pretty recently.
Yeah.
And so it's closer in their attention. But yes, if that happened, there are other places that were once under Islamic control that they, according to their theology, believe that they need to get back as a priority.
Due to my Turkish background, I can think of one country that especially some Muslims really want to get back, and that is Greece. They really want to get that back. Another one is Armenia. They want to get rid of Armenia and want to take that and divide it among the Turkey and Azerbaijan. India is a target, of course. India is a very, very dear, very sweet one that they want to take. I don't know why. They could go for better things. The Balkans, right now we have immigration. I don't know. I don't want to get into the whole very, very complicated and very sensitive political aspect and discussion of that side at the moment. We already dealing with some really, really bad stuff. But yeah, that's what we are. Anyway, if David can let me read without interrupting here.
Not going to happen.
Israeli Prime Minister...
Oh, hang on. No, go
ahead. Has said that the country is embarking on a long and difficult war, and the first stage would be over in the coming hours. Israeli civilians and soldiers are held hostage in Gaza. Okay, this is also another point. There are lots of hostages that were taken by Hamas and brought back to Gaza. And apparently one of the strategies is that they announced earlier that they took the hostages, so they have Israeli hostages, lots of them, in Gaza, and they spread them out throughout the Gaza Strip instead of holding them in one place, which means any target that is hit by Israel could be a target that has Israeli citizens as hostages in them. So they're basically using them as kind of insurance and as human shields. Plus, they also want to make sure that in case Israel goes deep into the Gaza Strip and, has an operation to save the hostages, they will never be able to get them all at once. So Hamas is really trying to hold hostages and achieve greater goals than they could if they just went into an all-out war. They want to have negotiations, and I don't know what they will come up with.
Well, and they use those hostages as bargaining chips, and they know that Israel is always way more concerned about getting their people back than Hamas is. And so what'll end up happening is Israel will end up giving 100 or 200 100 or 200 prisoners, many of them terrorists, give them back to get one soldier back or something like that, or one civilian back.
That's the thing. Earlier, I think the IDF was making announcements, and what they said, as far as I saw, was this is a serious war. We are going to go all in, and we do not think of taking prisoners or hostages. There will be executions on the spot. That's what they were saying. So no mercy. Directly, we will kill
Netanyahu said, I saw earlier, he said something like their cities are going to be piles of rubble, and I was like, gosh, and I believe that guy.
Yeah,
when he says he's going to rain down fire on someone.
Yeah, Israel said that any Israeli who is in Gaza needs to get out of there immediately. This is not a joke, unlike anything before. I don't know why there are any of them in Gaza anyway. I mean, it's hell right now for them. It has been hell for a very long time. Israeli civilians and soldiers are held hostage in Gaza. A spokesperson for the Israeli Defense Force confirmed. The spokesperson declined to specify the number of hostages. I think Hamas that they have hundreds of hostages. I'm not sure if that's true. We've seen some of the footage earlier. I showed a woman who was bloody on her clothes. She was being dragged into the car. So they are just taking random citizens from their homes and cars outside, throwing them into their trucks and their cars and driving them over to Gaza as hostages, which is, I don't know. Joe Biden condemned it, said United States stands with Israel. What else? Hamas fired thousands of rockets toward Israel. By the way, a second attack just, I think, started like an hour ago. So they started firing rockets again on Israeli soil. Hamas military commander Mohammed Deif said 5,000 rockets had been fired, but an Israeli military spokesperson said 2,500 had been fired. Nobody knows what is true. Israel has launched retaliatory airstrikes, sending the area's already crumbling medical infrastructure into chaos. This is the thing, right? So Israel, under a center liberal government in 2005, actually left the Gaza Strip. They took the decision and they disengaged from Gaza. They said, we are getting out of here. We are removing all of the settlements. They removed, I think, over 20 Israeli settlements in Gaza. Removed all of it and said, this is for you guys, govern. And as soon as they did that, 1 or 2 years into it, the Gaza Strip basically elected Hamas as their rulers. And Hamas then defied all the other Palestinian organizations and authorities and said, we are in charge here. We take control. We want Islamic jihad all over, and we will get rid of Israel. And as soon as that began, Israel was like, okay, sorry. So they started the blockade and the barricading of the Gaza Strip, and severely limiting supplies because Hamas is now in charge. A terrorist organization is now in charge, which says we want to get rid of you and we want to remove your citizens by killing them or otherwise. Why in the world do you think Israel would just be like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, we will still let you, do whatever you want and we will help you? No, Israel rightfully implemented a blockade, and the Gaza Strip has been under strict control ever since, compared to the West Bank, which is significantly more free because they don't have Hamas in charge.
Yeah, they check you and stuff, but you could drive right in there. I mean, they stop you and check you and stuff. But I mean, I went to the West Bank.
Yeah,
going to Gaza was a little more difficult.
Yeah. This comes, by the way, just when Saudi Arabia was talking about normalizing relations with Israel, which is a huge deal because, so for those who are not aware,
that could actually be a factor, right? They could be like, we're starting to get some negotiations here. We need to throw a monkey wrench in this system.
Yeah, so the Arab nations, they came together decades ago and decided on some concept called the three no's. Um, I don't remember what the no's are, but the basic concept is do not recognize and do not interact with Israel at all. No Arab state can recognize Israel. So when they talk of normalization of relations with Israel, what they're talking about is that these nations actually begin officially mentioning and officially building diplomatic relations with Israel. And Saudi Arabia has just been in talks to normalize relations, which is big because Saudi Arabia is one of the main, main countries at the head of the Arab nations. And it was not imaginable for me even like a decade ago to think that Saudi Arabia would normalize relations with Israel, but this just began. And right as we are speaking of Saudi Arabia normalizing relations with Israel, this massive attack by Hamas happens. And as you said, David, it could be that this is that the normalization of relations is one of the reasons why this attack happened. Because
Metropolitan
they don't want it.
Police. Metropolitan Police in London aware of a number of incidents related to Israeli conflict in parts of London.
Very mildly put. Yeah.
So it's global.
It is global. One funny thing, here's a comedy article.
Well, it's always good to go to a comedy article in the midst of a war, AP.
Yeah, no, the comedy article is Taliban has asked Iran for passage to join terror campaign in Israel. The Taliban has reportedly asked Iran for passage to Israel to help Hamas continue its terror against the Jewish state, according to multiple foreign media reports on October 7th. The Taliban has allegedly asked for passage to conquer Jerusalem if Iran, Jordan, and Iraq are willing to support their troops. So the comedy here is that the Taliban says, hey, Iran, open the doors. We want to come to Palestine and we will conquer Jerusalem immediately, just like we conquered Afghanistan from our caves. And
you remember when those guys were whining after they actually like won and everyone left.
Yeah.
And then they started complaining that running a country is way more difficult than fighting jihad and so on. So yeah, they don't like running a country very much. They just like fighting endlessly.
A bunch of imbecilic primitive cavemen there with their weird outfits, which they found out in nature, saying, "Hey, call us. We will come there. We will conquer Jerusalem." You dumb idiots! I'm wondering how long Taliban will last. And these guys, they were just fighting with their neighbors, with Pakistan. And I think even Iran, because they don't have enough water and they don't have enough food, and now they want to be called to the Israel conflict to conquer Jerusalem.
Yeah, the people in their country are having to sell their 5-year-old daughters to the remaining wealthy guys who have food in the area. And they're selling their daughters to these old men because they have no way of feeding their other kids and so on. And, this is and these guys who are running the country are like, hey, we'll go and take care of other wars in other places in the world.
How about you invite us? We can conquer all of it. I mean, these cavemen took Afghanistan after America left, and there was basically no resistance. Now they think they could conquer the whole world. And that comes from the very same people who said, hey, we changed. We just want to establish a proper, peaceful Afghan nation and, all that. So, yeah, definitely, bro. Definitely. Oh, here's some footage from Istanbul where a bunch of religious people came together to celebrate. Imagine there's footage spreading across the world of terrorists dragging people through the streets, stripping them naked, having probably raped them, as it seems, killed them, tortured them, spitting on them, doing all kinds of other things on them. And then these guys come together and they're like, yes, perfect representation of our faith. Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, more. This is why nobody likes Islam.
And what kind of, okay, let me make a bold prediction here. Israel is going to crush them in response. And then these same people will spend the next 5 years moaning and wailing, "Oh, why we're being persecuted! Oh, look at the persecution! We can't stand it! Oh!" And then they're moaning and wailing and claiming victims until someone drops their guard again. They'll kill a bunch of people and then cheer, "Yay, we killed a bunch of people!" And oh no, now there's retaliation. Oh, we're victims! Look, we're victims. We're just minding our own business. We're victims.
Yeah, the report was earlier, 2 hours ago. They said fresh attacks are coming to Israeli cities. Hamas launched new rocket attacks. Not sure the details at the moment. Some funny thing happened here, which is so Jordan Peterson.
Hey, look, Daniel Hakikichi there.
I know Jordan Peterson reacted to the stuff and said, "Give him hell, Netanyahu. Enough is enough." And Daniel Hakikichi responded to this, saying, "How does it feel to be a cheap prostitute?" That's his response. Typical
You're a
response.
prostitute.
You are a prostitute. This is what they go to.
It's always hilarious. The guy who promotes sex with 4-year-old girls always seizes the moral high ground against people who are morally superior to him in every possible way.
Yeah.
But you've got to love this. I mean, it wasn't even a year ago, was it? Where Muslims were idolizing Jordan Peterson.
Yes,
and Jordan
yes.
Peterson's their hero, and he's going to be on their side, and he's going to convert to Islam, and he's having all these Muslims on his podcast, and Michaela is too, and wow, this is great. We're making inroads, and all of a sudden, how about no? I don't like your Allah.
Yeah.
I don't buy your Allah and your misogynistic mullahs. And now, he's become public enemy number one. It's just amazing that no matter what you do, they'll turn on you or support you just based on one little thing you do. Like Sneeko, he just posted a picture of a Palestinian flag or something like this, and then Sneeko, our hero, we love you. It's like the comments are filled with praising him. And this is a guy who's been doing drugs and banging models ever since he became a Muslim. And they just don't hey, say one thing we agree with, throw us a bone, and that's fine.
Look at this. Look at all of these Muslims and the new Nazis, by the way, who are
at that. They actually took time to Photoshop that picture.
Yeah. And somebody says, Smile to Jenna says, "Sick old man." Smile to Jenna is like best friends with Ali Dawa and Mohammed Hijab.
Didn't they just love him? Wasn't he their hero? Wasn't he their go-to guy?
They were trying to build bridges and get Jordan Peterson on their side. But the thing is, as soon as he commented on a few things, I think most recently when that video came out where Jordan Peterson talks about misogynistic mullahs and says, "I don't buy your Allah. How about no?" Then Smile to Jenna was like, "Jordan Peterson did it again. He's very ignorant, very Islamophobic," and so on. So, but even here, you have Mohammed Hijab who's coming here and saying, "Do you think Netanyahu is going to give Hamas hell, or do you think he will intentionally bomb the most densely populated civilian area while he hides in cowardice behind his fortress walls? The real question is, when will Ben Shapiro accept the challenge?"
Yeah.
When
will Ben Shapiro? No, these dudes are nuts. But I still find it amazing that
look at me. You know you're done.
Yeah. Okay.
That after all their Dawa arguments all broke down, right? We've been talking about this for a while, but so for a long time it's perfect preservation and scientific miracles and so on. All this stuff breaks down, comes crumbling to the ground. They get exposed as liars. Then they admit it was all lies. But then their new method, their new system is we're gonna get on everyone's podcast and reach all these people who don't know how dumb our arguments are, and people who don't know that our arguments have been completely debunked, and we'll get access to new people and win lots of new converts there. So we want to get on with Jordan Peterson and Michaela Peterson, and they were trying for a while to get on with Joe Rogan, but anyway, they keep wanting to go on all these podcasts to get access to new people. And hey, and as soon as they go on there, I mean, you remember not just going on the podcast, but the comments afterwards where Muslims would shower them with praise. You remember this? Oh, it's so great to see Jordan Peterson building bridges with Mohammed Hijab, and they shower him with praise.
Jordan Peterson, wow.
And then and they don't realize what they're doing, because it's completely obvious to anyone who's watching. It's the same thing with the PBD podcast. with Jordan Peterson, Michaela Peterson. It's, hey, they'll send their followers to basically harass the person into letting them on the podcast. And then they get on the podcast and everyone finds out what they actually, oh, you actually believe in killing apostates? Oh, this is how you treat women and so on. And then, whoa, I don't want anything to do with you. And so what they actually did was they exposed the truth about Islam to people who weren't familiar with it. These were people who were interested in building bridges. In other words, the people who ran the podcast. So these were people who thought it was a good idea. Yeah, let's build some bridges with Muslims. Let's get along with Muslims. And then they get on there and whoa, I thought that was a myth. You guys actually believe that? You guys really want to kill all these people? And then they want nothing to do with them. And then these same Muslims, oh, look at this. He's the enemy of Islam. How dare he? He's an Islamophobe. It's like, wait, you made him like that. He didn't know anything about Islam. He wouldn't have picked a side in lots of cases. But you guys put Muhammad Hijab, people like Muhammad Hijab and Daniel Hakikachu in the faces of these guys and taught them valuable lessons about Islam. And then all of a sudden, whoa, we want nothing to do with this. Yeah, whoever's against you, we're gonna be on that side with the people who are against you. And then they flip out and cry like little babies.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Muhammad Hijab, cry baby. Daniel Hakikachu, cry baby. Smal Sujena, cry baby. Bunch of cry babies.
You are sick.
So this is just a very clear, like this is a typical depiction of how these people react, how these people think about anything. Jordan Peterson says, give him hell, enough is enough. This guy says, how does it feel to be a cheap prostitute? It always has to go to women, to sex, to some of these references. It always has to be like this. And then somebody else says,
he'll be sending his daughter next. Yeah, look who it is. Huh?
Always has to go to person, sex, to family. This is...
and they never understand different personality types. We've been through it a million times. This is basic stuff. There are certain people that this works with, right? If they say something you don't like and you heap insults and abuse about them and their families on them, it makes them back up and say, oh, I don't want to do that again. Jordan Peterson is not that person. The more abuse and insults you heap on him, the more annoyed he's going to get, and the more he's going to come after you. You're dealing with the wrong dude there. Like whatever hope you had of building bridges with this guy at any point in the future, you're making a permanent enemy who has a very, very big following. So in other words, they are creating their own. And Jordan Peterson was not their enemy a year ago, and all of a sudden he's their enemy. And now they're harassing him, because they have no plan B. It's someone done something we don't like. We rain down abuse and insults on him, and until he changes. And once that doesn't work, and there's nothing else you can do to him, then great, you've hardened him into an enemy who can't stand Islam anymore and wants to oppose it. And they keep doing it to themselves. And it's hilarious to watch because it's so stupid. You would have much better chance like having discussions with him and explaining your feelings to him and so on. That might get you some ground. The insults route, you're dealing with the wrong dude there.
Alhamdulillah. David, when we say that Islam has a lot of Jew hatred and that there is a lot of hating Jews,
we're making that up.
It's like lots of people tell us. Lots of people tell me. I mean, earlier I had a discussion. I joined Destiny when he was having a live stream and had a fight basically with a bunch of people. People say, "Oh, you're just making this about Islam," but no, this is all because of the conflict. This is because of what Israel does. And here we have videos of Muslim clerics themselves explaining to us that this is not about the conflict, that they would hate Jews regardless of the conflict. This guy says, we will treat the Jews as our enemies even if they return Palestine to us. Because they are infidels, because they are kuffar. If the Jews left Palestine, would we love them? No. We will not love them. Absolutely not.
That's the same thing that ISIS said. That's the same thing that ISIS said. They said, hey, we want to be clear. We hate you because you're unbelievers. In addition to that, we don't like the things you've done in Muslim land. So we're fighting you because of that too. But make no mistake, even if you had never done anything to it, we still hate you because you are unbelievers.
Very, very clear. This explains it much better than anything I could possibly say. They are enemies not because they occupied Palestine. They would have been enemies even if they did not occupy a thing. That's what he says. This guy says our hatred of the Jews is based upon our faith.
You know that's you in a costume, AP.
It is. The Quran tells us to hate them, not to love them. This guy says that they suffer from a mental disorder.
That's CGI. It's got to be.
So these guys, as Muslims, our blood vengeance against them will only subside when, with their annihilation, Allah willing. The worst enemies of the Muslims after Satan are the Jews. Who said this? Allah did, and so on. So we are not making this stuff up when we say these things. It is the Quran vilifies them, the Hadiths vilify them. The Hadiths say that they will inevitably fight and kill them. And even the rocks and trees want Muslims to kill them. It is not restricted to the conflict, but the conflict simply brings out the worst of it in the most horrible ways. Here you have crowds of Palestinians cheering while a truck of these Hamas militants drives by that has bodies of Israeli citizens in them. Always remember these videos. Always remember these videos. Again, the instance of that one woman being filmed, being transported into a car by force, into a vehicle by force, then taken as a hostage. There is so much stuff going on here. What was that? I wanted to bring up that one video, which if I can find that. But David, if you want to add anything else, I'll do that quickly.
Nope, we're good.
What do you mean? No, you're supposed to talk here while I'm looking for stuff. This is what you do. This is what you're here for.
Pull up some comments and I'll respond to them.
Oh yeah, let's pull up.
While you're looking for stuff.
The Real Masker said this feels like it was the all or nothing moment for Islam. People all over the West are waking up to the one thing justifying this terror, Islam. I want to just give a very brief take. I'm sorry, but I think humans are incredibly stupid. And even if you bring out the worst of the worst of the worst, tomorrow they will still think, maybe we can find some common ground. Yeah, but go ahead, David.
Yeah. It does seem like things are changing in the sense that, well, you've got the avalanche of apostasy. So there are lots of Muslims and Muslim leaders who, whether they acknowledge it when they're thumping their chests in other contexts, because you notice they've got like these two faces when they're talking to us, ha ha, we will take over the world, ha ha. And then when they're behind the scenes, what are we going to do? This is the avalanche of apostasy. We're falling apart, man. We're not going to make it, man. It's game over, man. Game over, right? So they have these two faces. But you know, when you see these guys panicking over the avalanche of apostasy, in their minds, it's, wait a minute, Allah is supposed to be blessing us to take over the world. What's going wrong here? What's going on? What in the name of common sense is going on? And you see, part of the reason that for the past 20 years they've been saying, no, Muhammad didn't have sex with a 9-year-old girl. No, there's no death penalty for apostasy. No, we don't want to kill anybody. Part of the reason they've been saying that all these years and then suddenly changing is they're starting to realize, wait a minute, maybe the reason Allah's not blessing us is because we're not actually following Islam. And it's the same mentality as ISIS, right? The mentality of ISIS was, we need to crack down on disobedience and heresy and innovation in our own community for Allah to bless us to then go out and conquer the world. So they focused on going around and killing everyone who's out of line. And so that was their mentality. But even the people who aren't like joining ISIS and going around and killing can have that same mentality in that, hey, we need to start doing what we're supposed to do as Muslims. And so we need to take some radical steps. And so looks like that's part of the idea that's going on here. Hey, we have to do something big. We can't just slowly be bleeding ex-Muslims all over the place. We can't just let Islam die. We got to do something. We got to do something big, and we got to start it now. And so it looks like they're setting it off and so on, and it's just going to blow up in their faces, possibly literally. And yeah, I think what do you do next? Where do you go from here? So you're all going to cheer, thumping your chest. Ha we took some captives and so on. Show the world your true colors. But notice, for the past couple decades, whenever there would be a conflict between Israel and Hamas or something like that, there was still an ongoing alliance between Islam and the political left, and that the political left would still side with Islam. What happens when you sever that? You sever that treaty that you had, because now you don't support their LGBTQ stuff, and they feel betrayed. What happens if they don't protect you anymore, and you have this sort of thing going on? You could end up with everyone being against Islam.
I'm just seeing something here which is really
That's good. You just go ahead and chill and so on while I carry the show.
Of Iran, the supreme leader of Iran, of course, celebrates what is happening here, and I'm seeing this because it is flagged that it violates the Twitter rules, but it is still accessible. He's saying, God willing, the cancer of the usurper Zionist regime will be eradicated at the hands of the Palestinian people and the resistance forces throughout the region. Al-Aqsa storm is what he tweeted. And then, what is this image?
What is this?
I don't know, but the community note says the people seen fleeing in this video are not members of the regime, but rather concert goers whose festivities Hamas disrupted using force and taking hostages. So,
the people running from a concert that Hamas stormed.
Yeah. But this is the leader of Iran.
We made people run from a concert. Yay!
This is the leader of Iran here. He could tweet the same thing basically when ISIS was bombing concerts several years ago in Europe, and people were running from those concerts. He could have tweeted the very same thing, slightly differently, and it would be quite similar. This is the regime of Iran.
Did you just say bombing?
Yes.
You pronounce the B bomb, the second B bombing.
That's what I do. I value every single letter that appear in the word.
You enunciate. Okay, I'm gonna let you slide because you're enunciating.
I appreciate and value every single letter that I read. I have respect for all of the letters that I.
Well, I think your language skills are the bomb.
Yeah. That's what we do in German, man. We don't leave out. If there's a letter, why are you leaving it out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Petrified plea of Noah 25 kidnapped from a peace festival by Hamas terrorists. From a peace festival. The irony. 160 Israelis.
That is some serious irony.
Including children, mothers, and old women, snatched in a murderous invasion that left world appalled and Middle East on the brink of all-out war. Her screams, "Don't kill me." I saw this image several times appear throughout the day. One moment Noah was partying at the desert festival. The next, she was in the terrorists' clutches. This is just, I don't know. And people are celebrating this kind of stuff. Because why not? Why not? It is the warriors of Allah. Daughter and her two young daughters, resident Aviv, cruelly kidnapped by Hamas. Noah, who was enjoying a party with her partner, also abducted. Yvonne and Antonio, parents of a 6- and 4-year-old, are still missing. 750 Israelis are missing unofficially.
This really sucks, man, because it's like we talk about. I mean, it's like we're familiar with all the same scenarios, just in a much watered down situation. Because you and I have talked before where, we criticize Islam and we catch a certain kind of feedback, but when it's an ex-Muslim woman, they deal with her differently because she's a woman. But notice we're just when we say that it's actually worse for the ex-Muslim women, because they get, oh, you're just a whore, you just want to do OnlyFans, that's why you left Islam, and blah, 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 and they get threatened with rape and everything else. So in other words, they get criticized in all the same ways we do, threatened in all the same ways we do, but then there's the additional ways that don't apply to us. But over there, it's the same thing where, if they capture some guys and some women, it sucks for the guys and it's going to be torture for the guys. But my goodness, you'd much rather have them capturing guys than women.
Yes, and we all know that they are that Islamists are not very Islamists who claim to be so moral, so morally upright. They cannot resist when they have women in their
Yeah,
power.
that's what
Who
I'm
would like
saying. Can
to
you imagine
who would like to rape them.
they catch a Jewish woman or a European woman, a Kafir
They
woman,
will
and they get
pretend to be
to
so
take
pure
her?
and so wonderful, and they will rape the women. They will
Boy.
rape them. They will mistreat them because they are animals. Here is the footage of mosques in Jerusalem inciting war against Israel. This is in Jerusalem. The mosques are screaming and inciting, fueling the war in Jerusalem. This is not just some. This is in Jerusalem. Are these people insane? I mean, are these people suicidal? Is this a suicide mission for their one population? Do they not care? This is it's. I want to say a few things. Like a lot of people come here. I saw a bunch of comments earlier that I have no respect for at all. That say, "Why do you side with Israel? Israel is the oppressor. Israel is the invader. Israel took the land." If we were talking about any other country, if we were talking about the Muslims who are in possession of a different land that just recently belonged to others,
Yeah,
the Muslims
Mecca.
in here would say, "Stop crying, ha ha ha! Don't be emotional.
Yeah, stop
Ha, ha, ha.
crying, low, cry more, baby. Ha ha
Allahu
ha.
Akbar, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar." You know what? You guys cry now. How about you guys cry now? Go and cry. Look at the bombing of people by Israel of the Gaza Strip, of Hamas, and how about go and cry now? Go and
Yeah,
cry.
and by
Ask
the
for
way,
help now.
there's a I actually believe in a modified version of that response right there. Like, listen, all these Dawa guys, Daniel Hakikachu, and now Jake, and so on. "Oh, you're a Christian, then you should want to kill everybody. You should want to kill everyone in the name of Jesus," and so on. It's like they believe we're supposed to act exactly like they are. So I believe in offering some level of clarification at the beginning, saying, "Hey guys, I'm just going to act the way they say I should act." Right? They say I should be obsessed with just, killing and slaughtering everyone I disagree with, and so on. So okay, if that's the way they think I should act, then fine. Why should I care about any of this? Why should I be? And notice you also have the issue of, like, the new thing is dialing up whataboutism to an extreme. So if you say, hey, this guy's promoting child marriage, it's, but King so-and-so in who gives a crap land in the year 975 married a child. So how can you complain about this? Right? It's like everything you bring up, no matter who's killed, no matter who's slaughtered, no matter what little girl is raped or whatever, they say, but this happened over here at this point, and you're not complaining about this thing that happened 1,200 years ago. So how can you complain about this now? But notice, if you were following that exact same logic, anytime they complain, look at what happened, look at what Israel did, it should be following their own reasoning. But what about what Muslims did over here? What about what Muslims did over there? What about therefore you can't complain about Israel at all, following their own logic. Keep in mind, I don't believe that. I believe in the human rights of people, both for the people of Israel, for the Palestinians as well. I would like to see a solution that works for everyone. We're just stuck in a situation where one side demands the annihilation of the other side, which makes a solution impossible.
There is no solution, which is why I have no respect for the lives of those who are not up to discuss and to find a solution, to find peace. If they are here and they explicitly state their mission to remove Israel from existence and to say, this is our land, you have no right to take our land, we will kill them all if it needs to be. I'm sorry, I have absolutely no respect for
Ain't your land. Ain't your land. Look who's on it right there.
What?
Who's got the land? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's our land. What? You ain't running, but what are you running? What do you guys run? What do you run in Israel? You don't run anything.
Here is the thing. Now, first off, I don't want to go and start lecturing people about the history of Israel and Palestine. I did it already before in a long video. I published a video on the Israel-Palestine conflict years ago. You can watch it if you want to see my take on it. And the Zionists who wanted to take that land did not want to take it because they have a holy claim to that land, because they are like, this land was given to us by God, therefore we should live there again, it belongs to us. That's not what happened. the Zionists, the original Zionists, the father of Zionism, basically, as he's seen, Theodor Herzl, who wrote Der Judenstaat, the Jewish state, at the end of the 19th century, he was as secular as it gets. He didn't envision a religious state. They envisioned a state where Jews can live in peace without being persecuted by others for their ethnicity or their religious ideas or whatever it is. And his idea was, should we go to Argentina, which is an option for us to go, or to Palestine, as he even wrote it? As he said, Argentina is a good idea because we could start a new life there, make arrangements with the people who own the land, and build something there. Or it could be Palestine, and that was during the Ottoman Empire, during Ottoman rule. His idea was we could try to persuade the Ottoman rulers to give that land to us so that we can live there with them and build for them, and help them, and it would be a mutually beneficial agreement. We would live in peace in our land, and they would get something from us. That was their whole idea. But then, of course, the First World War starts, in which the Ottoman Empire gets involved. And the entire reason why the Ottoman Empire gets involved is that the Ottoman Empire had been waging a relentless world conquest campaign until then. The Ottoman Empire gets involved. The French and the British take the region, the Middle East, partition it among themselves, build mandates there with the stated mission that they will not take that land, but they will build nations there. The British government takes that specific region and establishes a land called the British Mandate of Palestine, and they talk to the Zionists. The Zionists go and move there, settle there, and they say, you know what? Okay, how about we use this land to establish a safe home for you guys, where you can live and you can work, and the current population can also live and work, and we can somehow establish peace. Of course, the British did a terrible job at that, and also admitted that later on, realized they cannot deal with the conflict, and then just left it. But here is the thing. There is a war, a world war going on. The British take a land that they justly, if you want to follow and respect the laws of wars, the rules of these wars, justly took a land from an empire, as they were doing that for centuries before that. They took land from the empire and then began to build a nation there. That nation split into Israel and Palestine, and that Palestine, that land of Palestine of the Arabs, is a land that came into existence only after Israel came into existence. There was no country, no state, no land called Palestine before that. It's not like Israel came, or the Jews came and took a land, a country away that existed before. There was no such land. It never existed. The people, the Arabs that lived there, lived in Ottoman land as subjects. They didn't have a country for themselves. The whole idea of establishing a Palestinian state only arose in the 1960s, and that's when the whole idea, the ideal of a Palestinian state was declared. That's when it was declared. In fact, Israel fought wars with the local Arabs and with the surrounding Arab countries, with Egypt and Jordan and the others, many times. And in the one instance, I believe that was the Yom Kippur War, when Egypt and Jordan became victorious, they took lands which are currently Palestine, and they didn't form a Palestinian state with those lands. They made them part of Egypt and part of Jordan without any clearly stated goal of establishing a Palestinian state. That was not a thing. That whole idea that there's supposed to be a Palestinian state there, and that the Palestinian state was taken away, robbed by the Israelis, that they just want to have their land back so that they can, build this country anew. That is an idea that didn't exist back then. In fact, it is very ironic. The Muslims in the region didn't even have the idea of establishing nation states. They only had ideas of living in an empire, in a in an Islamic empire. The whole idea of establishing nations in the Middle East is an idea that was brought to the Middle East by the Western people, by the British, by the French. They brought the idea of establishing nations and giving them national names to the Middle East. Prior to that, that idea did not exist. So it's quite ironic that that these Palestinians now emerge and try to blame everything on the Jews and the West and say they took our country away. This was our country. There was no country. There was no country. And I'm sorry, several wars have been fought since then over the last century. Several wars have been fought. The Arab side had their ass kicked so many times and lost any claim to the lands which were taken by Israel. Israel justly defended itself and took the lands that they so far have. If any other party was involved in this, if Muslims were involved, they would justify this and say, we took it in war. This is just. It belongs to us. But
no, and I mean, it's funny. They'll thump their chest.
No,
Ha ha! We got Hagia Sophia. Ha ha! You
Yeah,
can't do
yeah.
anything. We're changing it back to a mosque. We don't care how you feel it. We won it. We beat you fair and square. Now it's ours.
yeah,
Okay. Isn't it amazing? Like the rules always apply in one direction.
of course.
Hey, if we took something, hey, that's how life. Sorry, life's hard. Sucks to be you if you don't like it, but that's the way it is. We took it. It's ours. If anyone defeats them, then we're going to whine about it for eternity.
Yeah.
And constantly seek new people to complain to who don't know how hypocritical and inconsistent we're being to try and win some sympathy for ourselves so we can claim to be victims.
Oh, here, look at this beautiful resistance campaign by these oppressed Palestinians here. Look at them going through the streets and randomly killing civilians and laying them onto the streets and saying, oh, we're just doing this for resistance. We are resisting against the oppressors. Look here, this is what resistance looks like, apparently. All right. Stefan Milovic said, when I saw your video about Israel-Palestine conflict, I really learned a lot, but nobody in my country gets my world for granted when I say Israel should exist. That's how things are effed up. Stefan, you are from Serbia, right? And I think Serbia, I guess, in geopolitical matters, sides more with the Russia side, which sides right now more with the Palestine and Iran side. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think that might be the reason, unfortunately. And a lot of people in the West also have that same attitude. A lot of people who want to be edgy, who want to be leftist, communist, socialist types, who want to just counter the narrative, think, oh, how dare you support Israel? Israel is religious. How dare you support a religious state? We support the Palestinians. Palestinians have a right to exist. And somebody earlier also here came and said, AP, I don't understand why you would support, why you would side with the religious ones. Are you kidding me? If we were to, first off, that is an incredibly idiotic view, but if we were to evaluate this whole issue based on religiosity, then I have to say the Palestinians are definitely the ones who are significantly more religious and significantly more extreme in religiosity. So if I'm not supposed to support the religious ones, why in the world would I support the Palestinians? Especially since they believe that I shouldn't exist, that I should be executed, and they would probably kill me if I went there. People are retarded, I swear. Oh, yeah. David, do you want to say anything about this?
No, just, I mean, I've been to Israel, and I mean, you hear the call to prayer over the loudspeakers for the mosques. We were right out. We were close to the Temple Mount, and there are Christians there preaching on the street corners, just Christian street preachers out there. So you do have plenty of examples of intolerance and so on, but I have to say, given that this is like the center of religious conflicts for a lot of people in the world, they do a pretty good job of maintaining the peace there, considering the amount of hostility and how difficult it is to deal with the different groups and so on. So anyway, Yeah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah,
We're
alhamdulillah.
proud of that.
Unapologetic Apologetics said, here's my jizya, which I would gladly give to you guys before Hamas any day. Also, HMU for that discussion on beauty. What does HMU mean again? Wow, I can't tell a little abbreviation here. This is ridiculous, man. What does that mean? David, what does it mean? I thought you speak English. What is this?
No idea.
Hit me up. Hit me up. Oh, this is okay. This is I see. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I will hit you up. I see now. This is a personal reference. We have to have
Wait.
that discussion. Yes.
Is this our buddy?
Yeah, it's our buddy. It's
Oh,
our
okay,
buddy.
okay.
And I had
This
a
is the
I had
other-
a long discussion.
This is the other David.
Yeah, it's the other David.
Yeah, it's
it's the real David.
the lesser David.
Yeah, I had a long discussion with him when we met about the philosophy of beauty and objectivity and all kind of stuff. And it was an amazing discussion, and we are supposed to continue that. Yeah. Goan's Telepon said, if King David was here, Hamas would be gone.
Well, I mean, you do wonder. I mean, you just can't put up with this forever, right? You don't want to just forever. We're going to have these people over here, and they're going to keep trying to kill people, and then there's going to be retaliation to crush the people, and then people are going to be more miserable there, and then they're going to support more terrorist attacks and so on. You think, okay, you got to do something to deal with that at some point, right? Well, I mean, what do you do? I mean, apart from crushing everyone, which you kind of don't want to see, but you wonder what other options are there. It's just a sucky situation.
Look at these people. Brianna said, AP, you freaking millennial, LOL.
Yeah, for real.
Malalut said, AP, you
Boomer.
boomer. Yeah, exaggerate. Come on. It's not my first language. Of course, I will not get all of the abbreviations, which is just my excuse right now that I can think of. Maybe I can think of a better one later. I don't know. Aaron Hook said, I've seen reports that Hezbollah has told the Egyptian government they will start attacks on Israel if there's a ground invasion of the Gaza Strip. Good luck with that.
Oh no, Hezbollah's coming.
Oh, no. Everyone is so scared of Hezbollah.
Oh.
Apollos Christian Apology said YouTube lags on 5G data for me. Wi-Fi fixed my leg. That's what I thought in my head. Doesn't make any sense, but it sounds kind of fun. Random OK said, it is abundantly clear that the status quo cannot remain. Hamas does not believe in the existence of the Jewish people. You can't negotiate with that. Very plain and simple. You can make all kinds of excuses and say, well, Israel does this and does that. Of course, they will do this. I'm sorry. The other side does not believe that Israel should exist. The other side does not believe that Jews should live. They don't believe that Jews should be in their lands.
Yeah, it would be a completely different situation if Hamas were saying, hey, we want Israel to stop interfering this land so we can just have two states and we can all live in peace.
Yeah.
That would be a completely different situation than we are here to constantly annoy and harass you with violence until we're strong enough to conquer you and wipe you off the map because you don't get to exist. And it's like, how are you even, I mean, how's anyone even tolerating this? It seems like Israel tolerates it, one, because there's a global community, you can't just go around wiping people out, but it seems like they're hoping at some point the perspective changes and people say, okay, we're not going to defeat Israel, and so we need to give it up and stop pursuing this. But I mean at any point in decades, if the Palestinian side decided, hey, okay, we don't want to slaughter all these guys, we don't want to wipe them off the map, we just want we all want to live in peace, there'd be peace.
Yeah.
But you can't, because Islam would take that as a loss, and Islam can't bear the thought of having a loss to the Jews.
Isa 87 said the PA Palestinian Authority recognized Israel's right to exist decades ago, while Israel is yet to recognize Palestinian statehood. Isa, I don't want to be insulting here, but the history of it is basically that Israel treats the Palestinian Authority as a potential government for the Palestinian people as soon as the Palestinian Authority agrees to a proper peace deal, and then to go on and declare their independence, which the Palestinian Authority has so far not accepted and does not seem set to accept. And I'm not sure if you
And it's one
have
group.
followed the issue here. We are currently not talking about the Palestinian Authority, which is the West Bank. We are currently talking about Hamas, which does not recognize Israel's existence or right to exist, or the Jewish right to exist, and which wages war to get rid of Jews altogether. Completely different issues. Whenever we talk about Israel, people are like, you're just Israel, shield, you're just defending Israel. Just a few days ago,
no, we're dealing with morons. We're dealing with morons here.
Yeah. Just
Like I don't even know what you're talking about. One, I'm not a Zionist, right? Everything I'm talking about here is just about human rights and looking at the two sides and saying one wants annihilation, one would like to live in peace, but they understand what they're dealing with. And so I'm looking at this and it's also the fact that you look at not just what Hamas wants, but the Muslim world wants. They want domination. What they want for Israel, they want for the rest of the world. They want the subjugation of the entire world, and they're focused on Israel. They're focused on Israel for the most part, even though they want the violent subjugation of the entire world. And getting Israel out of the way is just one stepping stone for them. So there are all kinds of reasons to say, hey, if I were to pick a side here, I'm going with this side. I'm going with that side. So this isn't. I have no idea what you're talking about. Like Russia and Ukraine. I have no dog in that fight. I'm not on either side. I think of them as this. I think of them as somewhat the same. Russia and Ukraine. In my mind, they're like all a bunch of drink of vodka, right? But I'm significantly more concerned about Russia conquering that place and being bigger and getting the idea that they can conquer the world back in their heads, because I don't like that. And so I would side with Ukraine over Russia. It's not because I love Ukraine. I don't know much about Ukraine. They could be the biggest dirtbags in the world. I don't want Russia taking them over, because I don't like the idea of Russia getting some ideas in their head about conquering the world anymore. So you can have all these situations where you've got two sides. Hey, if I had to pick a side, I'd favor that side. But no, I mean, hands down, I would side with Israel every single day of the week, over and over again. If you're talking about Hamas, if they're up against Hamas, I would side with Israel forever against Hamas.
Alhamdulillah. Isa said Israel has repeated over and over again that they will not recognize a Palestinian state. I'm not sure where in the world you're getting your information from, but that is completely false. The only thing that Israel has repeatedly said is that they will not recognize, that they will not move toward some idea of going back to pre-1967 borders, because that's ridiculous. That is what has been said.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there as well. And what has happened is they've been offered a two-state solution. In other words, the Palestinian territories have been offered a two-state solution repeatedly. And there have been times where the Palestinians say, here are all the things we want. Here are all the things we want. And Israel would say, we will give you 97% of what you want, but we can't give you this town on this hill, because there's our town at the bottom of the hill, and you guys could launch missiles down there. We cannot have you in a position where you can attack us that easily, because we know there are people among you who would love to take advantage of that opportunity to attack us at random. And so they have security concerns in mind, saying, okay, we can't give you this little part right here. We can't give you that little part right there. Every single time it's been rejected, unless they grant 100% of what the others want. And keep in mind, we're not even talking about Hamas. Hamas wants Israel wiped off the map. I'm talking about the people who actually want a two-state solution. They've been offered a two-state solution repeatedly. They say, no, we want 100% of the territory we demand, or no deal. And then it's no deal. And then Israel says, okay, no deal until you're willing to actually negotiate. And then, okay, we're not. Okay, then what happens? No deal, ever.
Absolutely. This is so funny. It is so hilarious to me. It's like the Palestinian side fought together with the Arab nations against Israel with the intention of taking back most of the land, or taking most of the land, taking all of it, I don't know, whatever it is. Multiple times, they lost, they lost, they lost. Their land was taken away. They played the game, they lost. Israel took in defense what they wanted to take. They took even less than they actually could. But then the losers, the Palestinian side, the losers, they're like, "Oh, guys, we lost, and can we just go back to before we started the game? We're not happy with the results. We don't want to. Can we just forget about all of this? Can we just go back? Yeah, sorry, no. Yeah,
No, yeah, I know. No, the whole thing is ridiculous. I mean, think about it.
it's so dumb.
Jihadis march out of Arabia. They conquer their way west across Africa, up into Europe, through Spain, into France. They conquer their way east, getting all the way out into India and China and so on. They conquer all this. It never crosses their mind to care even slightly about the people they're conquering. You still have groups today. Look at how Christians are treated in Pakistan. Look at the Copts in Egypt. Look at Christians in Nigeria and so on. What's going on with the jihadis there? Somehow the entire world is supposed to start going, oh no, but Muslims lost this one over here. It's the end of the world. What are we all going to do? Guys, guys, keep in mind, they're the ones who are like who are destroying any sort of sympathy that people would have, right? Because guess what? I talked to some Palestinians while over there. I talked to two, a Christian and a Muslim, who were on the side of Israel. Right?
Gastric Bunsen said blocked and subscribed.
Get the hell out of here!
Okay.
Bye. So anyway, so I talked to 3 Palestinians when I was there. I talked to 2. One was a Christian and one was a Muslim, but they favored Israel significantly in thinking that Israel was just in the way they're dealing with the Palestinians and so on. But apparently those guys are the minority. And they're not looked upon favorably by other people there. I also talked to a Christian Palestinian, and he was telling me, he's like they have like Palestinian liberation theology now, where they want Palestine liberated from Jewish control and so on. And so I can hear these guys, and guess what? I would get it. I would get it if you just said, hey, there's one group and they are significantly less powerful than this other group, and this other group can crush them at any time. And they're living very often, they're very cramped. They don't have enough space to move around. It's very, very densely, people are all compacted together and so on. And I talked to one of the guys, even one of the guys who were saying that, he sides with Israel. He was talking about growing up in his area. And he said, the thing that always stood out to me, there was just no space. There's no space to move around. There's no space to really play. You're just constantly cramped all the time. It reminded me of like prison. But the point there is, I could look at that and I could say, I get that. If I were completely under the power of some, group that could crush me at any time, and anytime some guy from my group does something, then they start throwing bombs, I probably really not like them. I also have a natural tendency to root for the underdogs. Okay, you got a powerful group there, a weaker group there, kind of root for the underdog. It's the fact that once you take a closer look, okay, why is there this situation here? Why do you have this entire situation? You have this situation because of some very problematic ideas in Islam that keep this from ever being fixed or ever being resolved. And so, what am I going to blame? I blame the Jews. No, I'm not going to. I can't. So Islam, knowing what Islam calls for and knowing what the real source of this ongoing dispute is. All right, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna moan and wail over you when you go and slaughter a bunch of people and then they retaliate. I'm just not gonna do it.
Man, this guy just can't stop talking, man.
Who?
What? No,
who are you talking about? Someone in the chat? Yeah, let's crush that guy in the chat. Can't stand that dude.
Let's see. I reform said F Muslims, Hamas, and the regime of Iran. Okay, I will. I would slow down there for a second. Personally speaking, I agree with the latter too. He who laughs said, "Can't believe I'm going to be alive for the 5th Crusade. Deus Vult." Yeah, no, not happening. Not happening. Not happening. We'll see
Well,
what
I mean, if Jake and Daniel get their way and they actually manage to convince Christians that we're supposed to go on killing sprees and slaughter everyone in the name of Jesus,
Inshallah, inshallah.
they'd have to find a lot of dumb Christians.
Jesus will come back and he will kill the pigs. So, that's what they say in Islam. So we'll see that happen in Islam, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Gohan's Teleporn said IDF should do to Gaza what Rasulullah would do. Oh, that would be bad, man. That would be bad. You don't want people to act like Muhammad. You don't want people to act like Muhammad. You don't want people to act the way Muhammad would act. You don't want what would Muhammad do, because if you want to go for what would Muhammad do, the results would be terrible. Always, you know it. You know it's true. Carlo Magno TV said, David, they were Christian lands.
Oh my goodness! It was pagan Canaanite lands.
Yes,
that's who it was.
And prior to that, it was some other.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows how far you go back? So anyway, it was a bunch of pagans, and then Jews conquered it, and then Romans, and well, then a bunch of groups conquered it in terms of not permanently colonizing it. But I mean, Israel was conquered by the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans, then Christians, Muslims, Christians, and then then you had it's interesting when you go there, because then they're like, this building was built when Christians were here, and this building was built and changed into a school when Muslims were here, and so on. And so you've got this long history. But guys, you can't just say, hey, my group had it this many years ago and therefore it has to go back to that. It's controlled by a certain group now.
It belonged to atheists first. It belonged to atheists.
Yes,
first.
because before that it belonged to animals. Give it back to the animals. Give it back to animals. Before
what about the dinosaurs? There
was snakes there. There was snakes there before.
Give it to the dinosaurs.
Give it to the dinosaurs. It's so stupid. Where do people get this dumb idea? Oh, this guy, that group controlled it 1,200 years ago, so they get it now. They get it now. Them get it now. It's so freaking stupid, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Oh,
man. That's
boy.
how it is. That's how it is. The dinosaurs, they deserve justice. Gorno's Bulldozer said, I don't like Shakira law. I love Shakira law. And Shakira translation of the Quran. That's always the best to go to.
Shakira should make an album called Shakira Law.
Right? That would be fantastic. Clampro said, but AP Palestine has the scholars Sneeko and Fusi Tube. Also a big fan of both you guys. Keep the good work. That's fair point.
Sneeko's actually the world's foremost authority on the book of the Council of Nicaea.
Yeah. Specifically, I think he specializes in Mat 39.
He's a master of that.
Yeah. Much respect.
Powerful double.
Radical Moderate said, besides Muhammad and Hamas, the Biden admin is directly responsible for this another Biden war. Iran put that $6 billion to good use. Let's go, Brandon. To be fair, I'm not entirely familiar with the background of this, but so some people might have heard this whole idea that Biden gave Iran $6 billion.
That was money that was like frozen or something, wasn't it?
It was frozen, and the government, basically the administration, unfroze it. So it wasn't money given to them. It was money released.
And then the second issue is what does that have to do with this? Now, I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it was like, oh, we got our $6 billion unfroze, so now we can funnel that money for a bunch of new windfall of missiles and something like that. I have no idea, but yeah, we'd have to see the connection before affirming that.
Yeah. Mosh Cohen, isn't it funny how those Muslim states, they're all so strong and Allah is on our side, alhamdulillah, they're afraid of us, we will win, and then they're like, yeah, they give us our money back.
It is that's always in the back of my head. It's like, you guys have over a fifth of the world's population. You got Jews with a few million. You got Jews or a few million people. You guys have almost 2 billion people. You have all of these oil-soaked, super wealthy Muslim countries, and you sit around whining like, oh, we can't. You thump your. I mean, on the one hand, you thump your chest. Oh, we're so strong. This is why everyone's scared because we're so dominant. It's like, oh, we can't do anything about this Jew except go kill a couple random people and then cry all day.
Take some hostages, some old people and some women, and we'll see. Maybe this will do something. That they will see the
We'll
strength
take
of
this
Islam.
woman. We'll take this woman hostage and rape her a bunch, and that'll teach you guys to support us.
Yeah.
Stupid morons.
If the activist said this was your worst
stream because you disagree with me, AP. Every time you disagree with me.
Yes, inshallah.
It reminds me of one of the guys like there'll be atheists, and whenever I make fun of Islam, they cheer for me. But the moment I say I disagree with anything in atheism, they go, "This is your dumbest point ever." I was like, that point is no less brilliant than anything else I say. What you really mean is anytime I'm saying something you agree with, you're, oh, it's great. And anytime I say something you disagree with, oh, it's so dumb. This is your worst stream, AP.
Yeah. Gornite's Bulldozer said you need to add the Vine Boom sound effect.
Hey, quick question. If this is your worst live stream ever, how come you got 2,300 people watching?
Because
one of
people
life's great mysteries.
Because people want to come and see the worst thing.
They see how bad it is. Everyone's saying, come see the worst live stream ever.
Look at this, the worst thing ever. Look at this. I don't know why I have my screen open here.
Someone seriously needs to check Daniel's search history. 4-year-old girls, show me pictures of hot 4-year-olds. What's wrong with him?
Emily Schrader, who is a commenter on from Israel on the whole conflict at the moment, posted Israeli missing people. Yeah, I don't know. By the way, so we're talking endlessly here because of David, but let's see if what the latest news say about this whole stuff. From 1 hour ago, last thing we received 3-4 minutes ago, Brandenburg Gate in Germany, solidarity with Israel. In the past 90 minutes, the Israeli Defense Force have banned anyone from entering Gaza and asked the public to be vigilant. It has also claimed its fighter jets recently attacked 3 Hamas operational headquarters, and its Navy units had seen off an attack by 7 terrorists in the area of Zikim Beach in the territory of Israel. So far, no further news except Israel's Security Cabinet has finished its meeting. Netanyahu's office has said it has approved steps to destroy the military and governmental capabilities of Hamas and Islamic Jihad for many years, including cutting electricity. I don't understand this. I'm of course speaking from my armchair amateur position, but I feel like, I mean, isn't it a desire of so many people by now to just get rid of Hamas altogether and to finish this whole failed project of letting the Gaza Strip, build a peaceful Palestinian land that will coexist? Isn't this a whole failed project? I mean, wouldn't an Israel that is just as bad as these people already always tell us just go in there by now and just, finish it all off?
Yeah, you wonder. It's like it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, how do you just let this keep? I mean, I understand they think they're letting this die down. They don't understand it's going to get more aggressive as they're in panic mode and worried about Islam crumbling. They're going to think, oh, we have to do more, and they're going to get more violent and so on. So, I mean, yeah, you wonder what sort of drastic steps are necessary to deal with this. They're not going to go this route, but I mean, if you're talking like serious measures, it would be like, hey, let's just seize the Temple Mount. We're going to take over Al-Aqsa and the Dome of the Rock until you guys hand over every Hamas member among you, and then we'll give you the Dome of the Rock back. In the meantime, we're going to use it as a bathroom,
inshallah,
until you hand these guys over.
Israeli broadcaster has reported that an Israeli couple being held hostage in Ofakim has been rescued, with 3 soldiers moderately and lightly wounded, and the hostage takers killed. A couple has been. Police station has been taken. 10 terrorists had been killed. Interesting. Okay, so stuff is going on wildly with all force.
You've got Susa Bird said steal the Kaaba. Yeah, he could do something like that. It's like
take the Kaaba hostage.
No, you don't want it because you don't want to have to hang on to it, right? You just swoop in there, steal the rock, steal the black stone, which is in pieces and so on, and just say, "Hey, I'm gonna leave this black stone soaking in pig intestines until you guys give up and stop slaughtering everyone as these terrorist attacks and so on. And then I'll give you a rock back, or rocks because it's in pieces."
Yeah, these guys casually taking Israeli citizens as captives, as hostages, while they are begging to be left alone and not to be killed. Emily Schrader always has good, reliable takes on these things. I was specifically looking for it's some very terrible footage. Here's footage of this guy posing with an old Israeli woman and under threat, making her make the victory sign, and he himself does the Allah is one sign and poses. This is the power of Islam, the power of jihad, using an elderly woman, a defenseless elderly woman, to show the power of Islam to the world. This is how powerful Islam is, how wonderful Islam is. Wow. You see the power of Islam. Nobody can stop this. Nobody can stop this. Islam will win by using elderly women. By humiliating the elderly women, Islam will eventually conquer the world, and we will all be subjugated and humiliated. And here is the footage of the disturbing, distressing, messed up footage of
Gotta crush them.
This is what
these guys understand nothing except being completely, utterly, totally crushed.
she's dead. She is deformed. She's stripped naked, laying there on the back of their truck. They are humiliating her dead body
And
her
shouting
corpse,
Allahu Akbar.
and shouting Allahu Akbar. Perfect representation of the religion that is so misunderstood, that just wants peace and love and obedience, that just wants to bring back good values, that just Patrick Bet-David and other absolute complete morons want to build bridges with and
How to
find
build bridges with these guys.
find
He should
common
have these guys. He should have these guys on his podcast and
yeah.
get a couple. Maybe get this girl's family members on there, and they can all talk about building bridges and what they think
yeah.
about, and they talk about what they think of Dylan Mulvaney.
Yes, Patrick Bet-David, you were recently asking who else should we invite for our religious roundtable. How about you invite these guys? I'm sure you can identify them. You can ask some people, these guys here who are streaming Allahu Akbar here. How about you can invite them and then talk about, briefly address this issue of putting this naked woman, which they probably raped after she was dead, briefly addressing this issue here and then saying, but anyway, let's find some common ground. Let's talk about Dylan Mulvaney. Let's talk about all the stuff that that we have trouble with in the West. How about you can do that while all of the other guys say, yes guys, Islam has some problems, but right now we have issues to deal with, like the LGBT groomers. So in order to tackle that, we of course have to make peace and collaborate with these nice Islamic terrorists who are of course just very passionate and who want to rape people and bleed them dry and marry little children and all of that. Yeah. Imbeciles, monsters, absolute imbeciles, absolute monsters.
I feel bad for them because Hakikachu said you're a prostitute if you don't.
Yeah. He was talking about his own wife. By the way, follow Emily Schrader. She covers these things very fairly, very well, very reliably, and also doesn't shy from criticizing Israel, her own state, which she defends, when Israel makes some big mistakes, like recently making deals with the Azerbaijani side in oppressing or taking over Armenian lands. Yadav Krishnan said, Amy, please check out the hadiths about Ghazwa. And I did. I made a video about it before, but I meanwhile took it down because
that's like the invasion of like fighting in India, jihad in India, right?
Yeah. I talked about it before, but I took it down.
Various hadiths. Oh, see? Good. You saw the error of your ways and changed course.
Yeah, because I feel like making a video on that was just fueling stuff that I don't want to have anything to do.
Stop that.
Yeah. GS made it super sticker. Thank you. I said Emily Schrader. Yes, people are pointing it out. Yes, follow her, Emily Schrader. Very good account on this whole stuff. And she's posting news updates as we speak. Here in the streets of Iran, people distributing sweets and desserts for the people to celebrate the brutal massacring and raping of Israeli people at the hands of Islamic terrorists. This is what makes Islam look fantastic in the eyes of the public.
They're melting hearts. Hamas is melting hearts right now. Everyone's melting hearts.
Erday said, I'm reminded of the hadith about the talking trees and stones and Judgment Day. Genocide of
Hey, where you been, Erday?
Yeah, we already covered that, but yes.
You know what Erday is?
Who's it? Erday?
That's like the street way of saying.
I know.
Like everybody. You know,
you think I'm stupid?
No, I'm saying because it's the opposite of what you do. You insist on pronouncing every single letter, even though it's supposed to be silent. But then you can even like not pronounce letters that are ordinarily pronounced, right? Like you don't have to say everybody.
You think I don't
You can say everybody,
every
day.
But there was a song a long time ago. Everybody in the club get tipsy, something like that. Anyway,
Get tipsy.
yeah. Everybody in the club get tipsy. Everybody in the club. It went something like that.
Yeah, where you been, Erday? We already talked about this, I think, like 9,000 times 2 hours ago.
Yes. I want to just keep this hadith on here just so everybody knows what exactly we're dealing with. Always look, this is what the vast majority of Muslims have heard of this hadith. People parade it every single time something happens, and people believe all across the Muslim world that they will fight and kill the Jews. I'm not making this up, it's right here. Check it. Romy Jondorf said, if Jesus was Palestinian, did Palestinians kill him? What? If Jesus was Palestinian.
I think that's a response to people saying, it's a comment. Jesus was Palestinian. You should love the Palestinians because Jesus was Palestinian. And then so the claim is, okay, well the people there who were after him were Palestinian too. So did they kill him? I guess that's the point that's being made.
Everybody is Palestinian. Everybody is Palestinian. Someone earlier said that AP has more right to the land than they do, and I agree with that. I should be taking the whole Palestinian Israeli land for myself. Padre said, I'm just waiting until these demons get nuked. Can't say that, man. Can't say that. It's a terrible thing to say. Goan's Telepuan said, I'm Israel. I don't know how to say this. I'm Israel. Chai.
Chai. It's a kind of tea.
Okay. Israel. What is this? I can't see the emojis here, unfortunately, on my stupid.
I can. I see it's got an Israeli flag, a green heart, then something else, then a red heart, then something else that looks British, and then some letters.
Where do you see it? Are you looking that up on the YouTube tab?
I'm looking at it on your. No, it's here. It's on the screen. It's in StreamYard. It's in StreamYard and on the screen. How are you the only person in the universe?
What the hell?
How are you the only person who can't see this at all?
What the hell? This is what?
What
this
are you
is
talking
ridiculous.
About?
Hey, I myself in my program, which this is ridiculous. Wait a minute, look at this. You can see the emojis. Look at this. Wait a minute. How do I?
You're telling me to look at it. I see it as clear as day. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait. Let me share.
Are you going to show me your screen? I don't care about your screen.
Look at my screen here. I don't see the emojis on here. Why am I the only person who doesn't see the emojis when I'm in
That's
charge
funny.
of the stream?
Any idiot in the world can see it except you.
What?
On your program.
This is ridiculous.
That's funny.
Anyway.
Wow. That's what you get.
Yeah.
That's what you get for opposing Hamas.
Anyway, that's cool. That's cool. Wow. I got humiliated by my own streaming platform. Do you think Hamas attack might inspire more extremist groups in different countries?
That's part of the reason why you have to crush them and make it obvious that you crush them, right? If they look all successful, then they're actually encouraging more of it. So the more they are crushed, the more Hamas gets crushed, the less likely they will be to inspire other people. But yes, you do have this thing in Islam where as soon as one person does it, then you get a bunch of people who want to do the same thing. It was like, you eventually had someone who said, hey, I'm having trouble getting guns, so I'll just get in a truck and plow that into a crowd of people. And then everyone started doing it. It seemed like every couple of weeks there was another incident of vehicular jihad, people crashing cars and trucks into crowds of people and so on. So yeah, you do have to make sure they fail miserably.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Okay. Didn't the Romans change the name of the region to Palestine to humiliate the Jews for their constant rebellions? Palestine didn't exist before Israel. I think.
Yeah, they named it. This was like the 2nd century, but they named it after the Philistines as kind of a diss, I think. I'm not an expert on this. We can ask Robert about this tomorrow because Robert's going to be on with us.
Yeah, as far as I remember, I don't want to misrepresent it. As far as I remember, this is just me getting to my memory here. But yes, that did happen to kind of dissociate that from the Jewish people. But the name for that region existed prior to this. I think it was.
I think they named it after I think they named it after the Philistines, who were like the coastal peoples who were the enemies of the Jews for a while.
Yeah. But specifically turning that into the actual official name of that region was, yes, that was a Roman thing to do. Marvin Jacobs made a super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wait a minute. Can you see this on the screen as well? Do you see what
we see? All of this. Why are you crying? Or how are you the only person? No, I don't see the sticker though.
Yeah, see, okay, you can't see that. No. Gornice Bulldozer said, the punk music from Israel will be fire. You still talking about every time he comes here, he talks about punk music and stuff. K9 student Steph said, how was it possible for the Gazans to enter Israel? That's the mystery. That's what everybody's.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, it's hard to get through the fences, but there are ongoing problems with them building tunnels. Like these guys are. Like, I wonder how they're not built. Like, how do you not do a better job at building up the Gaza Strip when you guys are the world champions of building tunnels? So I don't know. We'll have to wait till the news may already be out there how they got in, but yeah, there are multiple possibilities. So I'd have to wait and hear how that happened.
Meek Greek said, late to the stream. When was the last time Israel was at war? Egyptian war in the 60s. Was that the last one? 1967. Is that? I don't really know. I need to refresh my whole memory.
No, there's been more than that, hasn't there?
I don't remember. I made a whole timeline of that before, but I haven't looked into it in a while. I've studied the conflict. Ahab P. Imago said, I have studied the conflict for years. Thanks for giving an accurate history. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I tried. I hope I can. If I made some mistakes in the presentation of that timeline of the history of the region, always open to be corrected. Not by people saying, you don't know what you're talking about. Palestine was actually a big country back then. Oh, yeah. Somebody said 2006, Lebanon War, 1973 and after. Okay, yeah. There have been quite a few conflicts and wars ever since. Robin Runner said, more Muslims around the world rallied in support of the Palestinian aggressors today than all the Muslims who rallied for Uyghur concentration camp victims
that is
for
interesting.
all time combined. Why? Because Jews.
Yeah. And that seems to be the factor. Like
Jews.
Like China can do way worse than anyone else. They just won't complain about China. Plus, I mean, they will occasionally, but then it ends real quickly.
Chinese people are only Gog and Magog, whereas Israel is Jews. So
Jews.
Yeah. And when Jews do something to Muslims, even if they don't do it, then they're horribly bad people, and all of the Muslims have to come together And we are not saying this. I just showed a video of both Muslim clerics saying even if they didn't do anything, we would still hate them. They are our enemies. We are told by Allah to hate them. That's what they say. It's not what I say. It's not what David says. You can see the hadith right here on the screen, over and over again. Earlier, I had a discussion with this guy who was saying that I'm taking this out of context. What context?
Yeah.
He was saying,
Oh,
this is in the future. It's a state of war. I know it's a state of war.
yes. If you look at the context, what Muhammad actually said was, someone will say that you have to fight the Jews, but not me, because I'm all about peace. That's,
I
so
wouldn't say
that part got
at
cut
all.
out.
Yeah. I would never say, but somebody would say that you will
Welcome
kill
to
the-
Fantasyland. What's crazy is, but you have to look at it in context. Well, how is Hamas missing the context? How are all these jihadis over the centuries missing the context here?
They don't read.
That makes this somehow peaceful and about self-defense.
They don't know. They don't know. Here, Kool-Aid Manka said, technically, AP has more right to the land. Take back. I
Why?
don't know how.
Because you're
but
Turkish? Because you're Turkish?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, you had the empire, man. That was your empire. Take it back, man. Take it back.
Hey, you're right.
Go down there. Say, hey, this was Turkish place, son. This
Hey,
Turkish
you're
country.
right. Before the Palestinian Arabs had this land in the current state, and before the Israelis had this land in the current state, officially it belonged to me. So me, because I'm of Turkish origin. So I should
Make Palestine Turkish again.
Huh. Good point. I might have to think about that a little bit. Let's see. Mr. Courageous said, my guess is Hamas will cease to exist or at least be severely weakened within a few weeks.
I think they are going to be coming after them harder than possibly ever before after this. It just got more real than it's been in a long, long time.
Yeah. Matthias Montero said, why Shia Muslims support Hamas? Because when it comes to hating Jews and opposing Israel,
they're united there.
They might forget about their.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So yeah, Shias and Sunnis generally hate each other. So you would expect Shias to support Hezbollah and Sunnis to support Hamas, but they have a common enemy, so they are able to unite around a cause like that.
What's funny is I think ISIS actually declared Hamas illegitimate and declared war on them back then when they were establishing their own caliphate. Because did I get that right? Was it Hamas or was it only Fatah? I don't know, but I think their point was that they are illegitimate because they refuse to recognize the caliphate, so they are now enemies as well. In Islam land, things go really, really crazy, really, really wild when it comes to hating and fighting. Sid Dave said, does David think of atheists as bigger enemies of Christianity than Islam? Most atheists have an Christian background and are totally against Islam.
What in the world is he talking about? I mean, gosh, who would be bigger? So atheists, atheists, let's see, atheists are dumb. What else are they? So they reject the existence of God. They don't believe in Jesus. Muslims believe in Jesus, but a completely warped and twisted version. Muslims believe in God, the prophets, revelation, virgin birth. They believe Jesus the Messiah, that he performed miracles, that he's the word of God, that he's a spirit from God, that he's going to return one day, and that he's sinless. Lots of common ground there. Oh, and they want to slaughter me. Atheists generally don't want to slaughter me.
So
atheists don't really have there's not really a solid position there, right? Like an atheist could be like the friendliest guy in the world. I don't care what anyone believes. I really don't care. Or you could be like, I really hate anyone who's not an atheist. You have different, you have a complete spectrum of people within atheism. You also have a spectrum within Islam, but as far as what the ideology teaches, it calls for the violent subjugation of me and my family and of all my friends. Almost all my friends are under a death penalty from according to Islam. So
you're being emotional right now.
Yeah. So no, I will.
You have
I
no
mean, I will
argument.
point out problems in atheism just because, that's my background. I'm still interested in. I'm more interested in atheist arguments just because I dealt with some of them from
You're
my
being
own perspective
humiliated.
back in the
Stop
day.
being emotional.
But yeah,
Stop being emotional, man.
no, I don't think atheists are bigger enemies of Christianity than Islam. I agree with you. Lots of atheists
What?
have. It's weird. You can look at similarities between Muslims and Christians in certain areas. And in fact, that's how I ended up being friends with Nabil. Our friends would go out and they wanted to go clubbing when they had free time, and we didn't. We ended up hanging out with each other. So we had that sort of common ground. But I mean, if you look at it, Daniel Hakikichu and all these guys are all about killing apostates and marrying kids and all this stuff. And it's like, I got nothing to do with that. We do seem to have quite a bit in common with lots of atheists. So yeah, right now I'd have to say, yeah, Islam looks like a bigger enemy.
Yeah.
Even though atheism is really dumb.
Yeah. And we don't only do half of the bad stuff. I don't know. Like I usually only, I don't know, what do I do that could be controversial? I go into the dark at night and worship all of the different demons that I can think of. I drink blood.
You don't forget you support incest.
I support incest.
Yeah, I've never heard you do it, but I hear all the Muslims say you do it. So.
Oh, that could be clipped.
You see, David Wood admits. David Wood leaks. leaks the truth about the apostate prophet.
Sid Dave said Palestine should be created once a Palestinian wins a Nobel Prize in physics, medicine. I would love to see LGBT for Palestine do a rally in Gaza. I would not love to see that, although it is a very ironic thing to think of. I would really not love to see that because it would end very badly. It
does bring up a point. I mean, just think about it. If they just got the idea out of their head that they're eventually going to conquer Israel or something like this, then they could move forward, right? It would be okay. That's not our goal anymore. We're not trying to wipe Israel off the map. We give up. We give up on that goal. How do we move forward? You'd actually, I think there would be hope. And so you got to get the nonsense out of the way. And I think the easiest way to get the nonsense out of the way is to expose Muhammad as a false prophet. So guys, you want peace there? Focus on exposing Muhammad as the most obvious false prophet in history.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
We're proud of that.
Quick reminder for everyone to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Said Don OC, thank you so much for that reminder. Everybody treat the like button the way you would treat apostates if you were an Islamist, or virgins if you were an Islamist. I don't know, whatever you want to pick, whatever seems more appealing to you. Shio said, someone should ask Daniel why he doesn't go to Gaza and become a martyr if Allah is so real. I mean, I asked him why he doesn't go to Afghanistan, and he was like, well, we'll see, maybe I will go, but America,
I got my family, I'm waiting,
your
family and distant relatives and so on.
You know, like maybe liberalism is threatening Afghanistan, and I would rather live in the heart of liberalism.
Can you imagine that though? Like when Muhammad's like, all right, everyone pack up, we're moving to Medina, but my grandma is still around and she's here in Medina. She's here in Mecca. My grandma, I can't leave my grandma. I'm staying.
Will I even get citizenship in Medina?
I love my grandma. I don't know anything about Medina. What a joke, man.
Giant baby there.
I don't know, unless they start handing out 4-year-olds there. Then maybe I'll go.
Oh boy. David the Goliath said, David, what do you think of extremist Muslims voting for leftist parties in the West to advance their agenda? Are white liberals not able to figure this out?
I mean, they're starting to figure it out after all these years, but yeah, we've always wondered, we've always been confused about how people can be so incredibly stupid. But no, I mean, one political side just associated themselves with everyone who's a victim in one way or another will all form this giant coalition and so on, not realizing that some of those groups there that you're classifying as victims want to slaughter other groups that are considered victims as part of your camp, and so not going to last. But they're doing it out of convenience, right? It's a deal. Hey, we'll vote. We'll keep voting for you for this left-wing candidate as long as you keep calling everyone Islamophobes for criticizing our ideology.
Yeah, people are speculating about why Daniel won't go to Afghanistan. I don't know.
I told him. I told him, give me all the 4-year-olds I want, and I'll come. But how Taliban has not agreed to give me all these 4-year-olds.
Do they have they probably don't have McDonald's in Afghanistan. Or maybe they do. Maybe they established it.
How do you know he likes McDonald's?
Best guess. I don't know. The Real Massacre said there were some lunatics shocked by Hamas terrorists and rapists being strip searched by the IDF. They voluntarily relinquished their rights, in my opinion. Yeah. This is how it is. It is what it is. No comment. 3 Massacres, but thank you. Johnny Silverballs said, AP and David, why are you laughing, David?
Well, I don't know. I'm just reading this comment by Mr. Silverballs here.
Yeah. AP and David have been warning people about what Islam teaches, yet most don't want to believe it. Keep up the good work, fellas. Thank you.
No, we're I just been talking to Robert about this. I mean, for 20 years, Robert Spencer said, hey, this is what Islam teaches about killing apostates. This is what Islam teaches about child marriage and so on. And every step of the way, he's called a liar by Muslim groups and by non-Muslims as well. And then the Muslims started admitting it and shouting it from the rooftops. And it's like, everything is turning into the ultimate I told you so. And we're going to get more of that. We're going to get more I told you so's.
Yeah. Thank you for that super chat, Johnny Silverballs. David the Goliath said, Islam's holy sites are both based on total lies. Abraham's fake trip to Mecca and Muhammad's fake trip to Jerusalem, both of which never happened.
Yeah, it is interesting that I could just wake up one day and say, hey, you know, the Great Wall of China, I believe I took in a dream. I went over there, and so it's mine.
Like, I peed on the Wall of China at night. I went over
I
made it my territory, yeah.
I flew there on a dragon. It brought me there. I peed on it, so it's mine now. That's how Islam works.
I had this. I thought about a thing a while ago. Like when we talk about Jerusalem, Muslims say, act like this city is holy to Abrahamic religion, to all of us. But the thing is, if you look at Jerusalem, and if you look at the historic religious buildings and sites there, you will find plenty of things that are considered significant or holy both in Christianity and in Judaism. You will find almost nothing that is also along that considered important or holy in Islam. There's almost nothing there. So when Christians and Jews say that this is a holy city that is of great importance and that has some historical value to their religion, yes, you can make a point, and you could point at all kinds of directions in Israel and in Jerusalem and say, this is of importance to Christians, that is of importance to Christians and Jews. There is not much there that is of importance to also Muslims. Muslims have nothing there because the connection to Jerusalem in Islam is completely made up. It doesn't exist. Yes.
I had a dream, AP.
Yes.
I had a dream that Allah gave us the Kaaba wrapped in a blanket. And I said, what is that? And he said, I'm giving you this, so it's ours. Have you noticed, like he did the same thing that he does, the same thing that they do with the Temple Mount, the same thing they do with the Kaaba, is the same thing that Muhammad would do with like Aisha. Give me your daughter. I had a dream and it's mine now. Like what idiot could just walk up? Hey, Elon Musk. Yeah, I had a dream that your $200 billion is mine.
Hey, that's a
Give
good
it to
idea.
me.
That's a good idea.
I got a bunch of morons who are going to help me.
I had a dream. The Kaaba was shown to me, and it was unwrapped, and there was a bunch of chocolate in it. It's a box of chocolates, and it belongs to me now. I like chocolate. David Gonzalez made a super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Neo-Reformationist said, David, are we living in the fulfillment of do you say that First Thessalonians, or do you say 1 Thessalonians 5:37?
If you're Trump, you say 1.
Okay.
Everyone made fun of him for saying that, but I've heard preachers say it, refer to, as a
Yeah.
2 Corinthians. I've heard that before. But yeah,
That's a
you
very
say,
good Donald Trump impression.
yeah, thank you. Wrong. Wrong.
And did you see his video recently? Like,
I haven't
always-
seen anything by him in a while.
I always say, I'm not necessarily the greatest Donald Trump fan, but there was recently a clip of him, of him on stage making fun of Joe Biden and basically saying
he's great at stuff like that.
he's imitating him, and he's like, there are the stairs, and over here are the stairs, and he doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know where he is.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know where to go. Like, oh, do I go here? Do I go there? No, I don't know.
I don't know if I can show
I'm the
you.
most powerful man in the world, but I don't know where to go. He's funny. He's hilarious. He's hilarious and just like off the cuff making fun of stuff like that.
I don't know if I can show the video. It's from a media source, but I'm not a Donald Trump fan at all. But
No, me neither. No, it's like I think I'm the same as lots of people in that, like, the people who annoyed me most, he was pissing them off a lot, and so like, hey, good, they really don't like him, so okay, this is hilarious to watch here. But yeah, at the end of the day,
if he was
at the end of the day, he seems like a narcissist, and so. But someone might like that. Like I would prefer someone that everyone respected on both sides and so on. Given that we might not be able to have that anymore, we might be so polarized that you just need someone that crushes the other side. I could see someone saying, "Hey, this guy crushes the other side that I hate," and so we love it. We love him for that. But
I say if Joe Biden, I would love having Joe Biden as a nice grandpa, not as a president, and maybe Donald Trump as a comedian, not as a president. But unfortunately,
I'll add this. I'll go ahead and say, because again, I think he's kind of a lots of times narcissistic. I don't know. There's definitely something wrong with him. But his picture when they his mugshot, I've asked my ex-cons, what do you guys think of that? Everyone's like, oh, that is, man, that's gangster right there. every ex-con who looks at that is like, oh,
yeah,
that's gangster right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone loves that.
Watch.
Like he gained every ex-con. He gained like 50 cool points with that mugshot, because that's what we all want our mugshot to look like totally awesome.
Okay, watch this Joe Biden impression.
To make it to the starting gate. I mean, the guy can't find his way off of a stage. Look, here's a stage. Here's a stage. I've never seen this stupid stage before, right? I've never seen it. But if I walk left, there's a stair. And if I walk right, there's a stair. And this guy gets up. Where am I?
And he's totally, I mean, he's totally right. That's why everyone's loving it. He's totally right and hilarious while making the point. Notice that was exactly like something Biden would do.
Yeah, this thing gets me every time when he turns around and says, "Where the hell am I?"
Where the hell am I?
What's wrong with you? This guy. All right. Guess we know who AP's voting for. No one has to worry about me. I'm not allowed to vote.
Honestly, in my honest opinion, when the Donald Trump phase was over, I thought, I hope we will never have that again. Not because I don't like him, not because I don't agree with him, but because I got so sick of the extreme polarization and constant everyday stress of
that's the thing. You hope everyone else gets sick of it too, and then they realize, okay, we need to stop picking someone who is most insane to the other side, right? You have to stop picking the person who is most repulsive to the other side, because that's what people do. It's like, oh, okay, here are the 10 candidates. Oh, who pisses off the other side most? This guy? Oh yeah, you're our hero. So yeah, so you think, oh, we hope we get past that. We realize we have to start picking someone that's, you know, acceptable to everyone. But I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there. I think we have to go through maybe another couple cycles of how far can we go?
Yeah.
I
Hossein
think
M
it's
said,
funny.
dude, 4 years of Trump being president, there wasn't conflict in the Middle East at all. I would ask Yemen about that. They beg to differ.
There was complete peace. There was complete peace while I was president.
The most peaceful president.
I just went over there, made a deal. I said, "Hey guys, come on, let's negotiate here." I negotiated the peace. It was the most peace. It was the most peace of any president in history. No president has ever had more peace in the Middle East than me.
That's very good, man.
Oh wait, I never actually answered that. No, I don't know. I mean, First Thessalonians 5:3.
I'm really happy you didn't answer that in that 10-minute talk.
I think the standard interpretation. You started talking about Trump.
Okay,
I think the standard interpretation of that would be like the second coming of Jesus. So you could be thinking of this as like end time stuff. But I normally have the position of how, in the name of common sense, would I know?
Inshallah. Sid Dave said, are Palestinians descendants of ancient Jews of the region? What else could they be? They have completely forgotten their Jewish roots. It is hard to make any assertions about the genetics of any of these people. There is a lot of mixing.
They'd have to send in some 23andMe and see what the genetic makeup is there.
I'm pretty sure you can find some mapping of genetics and haplogroups and whatever on the internet and see what you can find there. But all it will show you is that that they have something in common with different cultures that happened over the last centuries. There's no way that you can trace them back like 2,000 years. It's plus, what does it matter? Zal said Muslims in London are celebrating right now on X. Well,
good. You want them to. You want everyone looking around, looking at what just happened with Hamas, and then looking out and saying, wait a minute, I thought these guys said they're all about peace and tolerance, and what's going on here?
Inshallah. I just want to tell them one thing, which is,
Get the hell out of here!
Sandman said Mo Hijab needs to take his shirt off for Palestine. Where is he? Why didn't he do it yet? Why didn't he?
Yeah, he should have.
Yeah, why didn't he? Prostitute.
Why didn't he strip?
You are a you see that's always where the mind goes by all these Islamists. It's like he's there to protest China supposedly, and he's like immediately it has to go to prostitution. He's like, you are a prostitute.
You're a prostitute. And let me show you. I'll take my shirt off. Ha ha. Where's Ben Shapiro?
It's all. I'm sure Sigmund Freud would have a lot of stuff to say about this, but it's always goes to, with these Islamists. It always goes to something sexual, to sexual possession, to these frustrations, to sex by force.
Yeah, everything is always about rape and molesting and prostitution and golden showers and gimp and get on your knees, and it's like someone needs to check out these guys' search history and see what makes them think like this.
No, I really wonder what Sigmund Freud would actually.
But that should be trending on Twitter right now. I mean, hey, he took off his shirt for the Uyghurs. Why not take off his shirt for the Palestinians?
Hey, wasn't there? Don't we have a historic interview between Sigmund Freud and Muhammad?
Oh yeah, we got that.
Yeah, we got that. Yeah. Okay,
you need to hurry up. We got to get going.
Okay,
well, one of us has to get going. I was supposed to be gone 36 minutes ago.
Oh, just get out of here, man.
Okay. Is there anything else from me? Well, I don't know. Are you going to be done in 4 or 5 minutes, or are you going to be like on another 25 minutes?
I might be done anytime now. Let me see if there's anything specifically for you on call. Very interesting and informative show. Bye. Thank you so much.
Wait a minute. I thought it was the worst show ever.
It is the worst show. Same House is a beast. Everyone become a member. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Kenneth said, hey, I was in Lesotho for a holiday. Situation in Sweden is getting worse. How is it there? Can't really say very much about Sweden at the moment, but people say it's not very nice with a lot of the controversies. And yeah, just curious, does David have an actual real emotional response to these pictures and videos? Said ironic tone.
No, and I didn't even think about it until you just asked. So no.
You see,
I didn't even emotional response never entered my head until you just said it.
Yeah. Interesting. So you don't feel anything at all about this?
No.
What a monster.
You see?
All right. I think there's nothing else for you here, David. There's like a few more comments. I can just read them quickly. Needs to take his shirt off. Philistine is also used as an insult today. Yeah, that's a different thing, right? Palestine might end up like Philistine. Hey, I was in Lesotho. I already read that. Dearborn, Michigan was championed as having the first Muslim elected officials until they banned their rainbow flag from public buildings.
That wasn't Dearborn, though, was it? That was a different area in Michigan.
I think so.
Unless Dearborn did it too, but I know it was a different one that was in the media for a while.
Okay. Go on to
you already did the chat. You already did the chat.
Wait, this is a clarification. It says
Oh,
the
okay,
people
so
of Israel live. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sid Dave said, should non-Muslims exchange Jews, Hindus from an alliance to take on jihadist menace globally, like allies in World War II who came together to beat the Nazis? I don't think that's possible. In a real way.
I think everything is becoming more divided, not more united. With that said, you will find lots of people on the same side who are going to look at this. In other words, you'll have Hindus looking at this going, you see, this is what we've been dealing with, something very similar here. And Jews and Christians, we've all been on the receiving end of jihad. So we can all look at this and say, we get it. We get what you're going through. And yeah, we're on the same side of this.
And this is very funny. It's not funny at all, but it's just related to a question that
he said it's all funny. He said it's all funny. I'm the psychopath. Okay.
So when normal people see footage of people, being killed or losing their lives or something like that, lots of people have this very, very strange, scary reaction, this feeling of terror or of some scary, weird existential feeling that feels worse than anything else. It's not describable. So but you don't have that at all. So you don't even know what we're talking about when I say that this image is terrifying, right? You don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, terrifying. He's not even listening because he doesn't care about feelings. Mercedes F1 fan said, "Hey, sir, the search up the term coon and sell out AP. Why have they abandoned your Islamic brothers and sisters? Are you serious? Did you just make a super chat to?"
Yeah, I don't know if that's a joke or whatever.
Yeah, I hope it is. I hope it's not actually. Keep making more super chats. Point out what a horrible person I am. I will appreciate it very much. Ian Folt said, "Do you think Turkey might join instead of possibly Iran with his attack on Israel?" Turkey is dumb, and you don't know what exactly they could do at any moment. I have a horrible president that I'm being sued for, by the way, for insulting. By the way, he's a horrible piece of crap. And
jealous.
Goan Stilipuan said Trump was a reaction to Obama. The left started the polarization. It's a dangerous pendulum. Look up the Hegelian dialectic by Professor Wraith. I'm not really sure if I want to agree with that.
It's dialectic.
Oh yeah.
But by the way, this is correct as far as like you have one position and then you get a reaction to that. But notice what we're talking. It's the same thing I was talking. Like, okay, you get people go in this direction and then they go in the opposite direction. So you have the thesis, the antithesis, and then the synthesis, which is supposed to be in the middle. But it's not going like that. It's we're going too far this way. We'll go too far this way. Well, we'll show you. We'll go even farther this way. Well, I'll show you. So I'll go this far this way. And
yeah, possible. Loki said, "I don't support Palestine, but how can anyone believe God gave anyone land? It's like everyone is forced to believe Israel existed. There is no actual proof." The funny thing about this, Loki, is I see your point, but the funny thing is that despite popular opinion, the role of Israel as the holy land of the Jewish people plays little to no role in the official, actual claims on the land that we're talking about. It's not about that being the holy land. That doesn't play that big of a role in the conflicts. And I explained it at the very beginning. The whole Zionist movement was a secular movement. They were specifically aimed at establishing secularism.
You have people, you do have Jews who believe that's their land. You do have Muslims who believe, no, that's our land and so on. But yeah, you also have tons of people who are like, okay, this is where we live. This is our home now. Okay, so obviously we have to protect and defend it. You have other people who are, no, this was you guys just stole this for us, and we have to fight for it to get it back and so on. So what AP was saying, there seems to be a bigger religious claim from the Muslim side in terms of any land that we once controlled, we have to take back. And it's a different context in the Quran, but, you know, drive them out from whence they drove you out. There are thinkers who apply that to this situation as well.
Inshallah, inshallah. By the way, I highly recommend watching this video, which is an interesting parody music video called "This Land Is Mine." For those who don't know it, it's go ahead and watch it. It kind of very nicely depicts the history of the whole region, and in the end, death wins. Yes. David the Goliath said, "Are Turks European converts to Islam?" Turks are very mixed. Some of them are from the Far East, Central Asia. Some of them are Persians. Some of them mixed with the local Anatolians and Greeks and Armenians. Very, 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 very mixed. Very mixed. Carpet bomb the Kaaba, then say we defeated Allah. Inshallah, 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 one day.
We're proud of that.
Israel-Palestine conflict is unique. Local population follows an Arab religion, whereas immigrants follow the native religion and culture of the land. Lots of disagreements there. Lots of disagreements. Yes. David, we're done.
Oh, that's cool, because I just heard, oh, no, there's a nurse downstairs, so I'm good. We can stay here all night.
What, man?
Just start the super chats over and go through them all again. We'll give more detailed responses.
Let's start over.
No, we're actually good, because we'll be live again tomorrow. I think I might call the live stream tomorrow Allah's a Zionist. Allah, King of Zionism.
Allah is a Zionist. Allah is a Zionist. Let me check the latest news here before we let everyone go. I know that people can't look up news on their own. Everyone depends on us here right now. So before leaving the world dark, let's see if there are some latest news here that we can share with everyone before we leave. 14 minutes ago, latest developments, hundreds of people taken hostage, hundreds of people dead on the Israel side, killed 200, at least 200 Israelis killed. Yeah. Israeli officials reported that at least 300 people have died in the attacks, and so on. Latest news are not very different from what we had earlier. Closely follow what's going on. I hope the situation gets resolved with the end of Hamas. And as the great peace activist Elon Musk is currently saying, why can't people just make peace and stop the hate? That's the fantastic solution that the smartest man in the world has offered us. And I completely agree with him, of course. Yeah. What do you think, David, before we leave?
I think Elon should come up with a solution that solves everyone's problems, and he can send Hamas to Mars.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Seriously, I mean, nothing against Elon Musk. The guy did some great things, but sometimes...
Well, it's just an ongoing problem when you're like this tech genius and stuff like this, and the richest man in the world. You start to think that you know what you're talking about on everything, and so you just blurt out and it's not just him. People treat you like that. Like, I'm sure you've experienced this. People all the time. David, why don't you comment on this? David, why don't you talk about this? I'm like, why would you think I know anything about any of this stuff you're telling me to talk on? What? You like what I say over here, so you think I know about everything else you might bring up? I don't. I don't know it. I don't know most stuff you would bring up. Anyway. So anyway, people are like, Elon, why don't you tell us how to solve, bring about world peace and so on?
I have an idea. Why don't we stop hating each other and make peace?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Elon Musk. We could never have thought about that. Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much. Applause for you. Thank you. You have saved the world, man. Anyway, if it's night and you are wondering where the sun left, it went to its resting place to worship under the throne of Allah. If you're wondering how the sun could possibly go somewhere, it
is a metaphysical matter.
That's the answer.
It is a metaphysical matter.
It's a matter. Sid Dave just
now you're back to super chat.
Says, if Israel belongs to Jews because of some historical connection, can't Russia not the same about Ukraine? We can't live in medieval.
Didn't we already deal with this?
I would say if you want to argue about this, you can argue in length, but even then,
Who's who?
Russia wouldn't have a claim to Ukraine because, unlike, despite some popular opinion, Russians are not people who were originally the original Russian people, the original Slavic people, the original owners of this land and that land. Russians are, like Ukrainians, descendants of people who were the Kievan Rus, which are mixed of Nordic, East Slavic people. None of them is above the other or has the right to rule.
Yeah, they've always been too drunk to even know who's who up there. So, but notice what's this guy responding to? Did I somehow miss the part where like, oh, the land belongs to the Jews because they were there before? So they just gotta have it. What do people respond to? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, with that said, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day.
And stay away from Islam.
And as Elon Musk says, why can't we all just have peace? And how about we stop hating each other?
Yeah, good advice. Yeah, let's do that. We didn't think of that.
Never thought about that. Wow.
I'll message Hamas right now. Hey, Elon Musk said, he said on Twitter.
Arthur Christus here is a genius who says AP Kievan Rus is where the Russians literally started. No claim when Ukraine put down the pipe.
How would they know they were drunk? They don't even know.
Russians take claim on being the actual Rus people. Just because they are called Russians, that does not mean that they are the Kievan Rus people, which are the ancestors of both of these people who are distinct populations with distinct cultures and languages.
If I'm not made for this, then how come I drink 3 bottles of vodka and I still fine? Huh? Answer that. It'll make no sense. Go away.
This is ridiculous. Like, I mean, this is. I don't want to get into a whole different topic here, but right now, but
yeah, because we're here talking about Hamas invading Israel, and you're like on almost 3 hours here talking about. Let me explain to you why Russians aren't the original inhabitants and don't have the same sort of claim that Israel has. Notice, and you're responding to the other dude whose post made no sense because he wasn't responding to anything anyone was saying. Anyway,
if you are a pro-Russian guy here who says, "Oh, Russians are the father of all of the Rus people,"
that's why we worship. That's why we love Putin.
That is literally that is known as revisionism, as historical revisionism. You are denying clearly established historical knowledge and saying, "No, I deny that. I say Russians are the fathers of all of this," which is garbage. It does not, no data supports your weird ideology.
Jealous.
And by the way, Mr. Putin is the very same guy who pushed that revisionist idea as well, which is one issue that makes him really, 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 really wrong and messed up in that whole conflict.
Well, if it's all revisionism, then how come our hero Ivan Drago beat your hero Apollo Creed to death? Right here in US of A. Right here in US and A.
Go back to America. This is a Russian problem. We don't deal with your problem.
Okay, thanks everybody. Have a fantastic day. And as always, Mrs. Apostate said, please complain about this super chat, David.
Oh yeah, because no, I'll just stay here all night because your wife is chipping in money to your super chat.
Nice. Thanks everyone. Have a fantastic day. And as our dear friend always likes to say, we would never forget him. Please take his advice.
Stay away from Islam. Stay away from Islam.